This is A's Cast Live, your comprehensive look at the Athletics.
Leaping the ball, it's gone. A towering drive into center field by Rooker.
And 29 other MLB clubs.
A judgy blast. All run. Here comes the judge. Swung on. Hit high. Hit deep to right. Away back into the second deck.
Bobby Witt Jr. becomes the first shortstop in Major League history to have two 30-30 seasons.
Shohei Ohtani starts the 50-50 club.
Join us as we take you inside the baseball universe, from humidors to walk-off dingers to Hall of Fame talk. We have you covered. Spend your afternoon with us, only on A's Cast Live. Here's Chris Townsend.
How is everybody doing on a Monday? It is A's Cast Live before Game 3 of the Fall Classic, the World Series. Obviously, the Dodgers are up 2-0, and we're heading back to New York where the Yankees, you want to talk about must-win tonight, the percentages will tell you that. We have a lot to get into today. Commander, how are you?
I'm good. You're right. It is a big night for the Yankees, and I mean, you really want to get the competitive juices flowing. Derek Jeter is throwing out the first pitch.
Who?
And then Paul O'Neill tomorrow.
Derek Jeter actually, for the first time, said something on television, and it was like, you know what? Those three bozos sitting on the Fox stage, it's awful, right? A-Rod says nothing. Big Papi's awful. He's awful. Finally, Derek Jeter did say something, and it was against the Yankees. I thought, I sent it to you. Do you have it?
I don't have it, no.
But yes, Derek Jeter throwing out the first pitch. We have a lot to get. Who do we got on the show today?
We got A's pitching coach Scott Emerson will be joining us in about 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And then we have Martín Gallegos from MLB.com who covers the A's. We'll talk a little A's. But he covered the ALCS between the Yankees and Guardians, so he knows all too well about what the Yankees are doing this postseason.
Well, everybody likes lists. So I have 5 observations from the 2 games so far in the World Series. But I will tell you that today we will be a little bit of Yankee honks. And I can't believe I'm saying it, but the bottom line is, when you're seeing the television numbers, which we thought would be good, and then we're seeing that the numbers in Japan are equal or better, we don't need this thing over in 4. And even though I predicted Dodgers in 5, I hope I'm wrong. We need this thing to go for 14 games. We need this thing to go well into November.
Yeah, just keep going.
Because the series is getting the television numbers. It's bringing people back into baseball. And internationally, it's huge, especially in Asia. So I don't want to be right. I want this thing to truly go 7 games down to the last inning, to have everybody. I mean, 15 million people in Japan were watching Game 2.
Yeah, it's incredible.
15 million. Because you know what? They're not watching NFL. Well, they're probably watching some. But they're watching baseball. And the numbers in Japan are through the roof. But that's not where I want to start today. I want to start the last couple weekends that I've had. I've had these busy weekends where I've been doing a lot of, it's funny. I sent my kids away from school. I sent my kids away to school. And I'm spending more time with my kids now that I've put them in college than I was when they were here in high school. My God. Can you get me the E40 bobblehead? If none of you are able to make it to one of the worst football games in the history of college football on Saturday.
Oh, that wasn't San Jose State Fresno?
No. That dog, those Spartans are dogs. It was terrible. But we won't talk about that, or we won't talk how nobody showed up to Stanford to watch Wake Forest take on Stanford.
That was a big ACC showdown on where you're at. Why are you not watching that game?
Demon Deacons. But if you were able to be there on Saturday at Memorial Stadium, you would have received an E40 Cal bobblehead. Pretty cool.
Here, I can zoom in.
And they were playing all the E40 tunes. I told you I never wanted to hear Bamboo ever again because we played it every single game. Got to hear Bamboo again. And E40 was there. Everybody loves them some E40. And you know what the funny thing
I
is?
think he was at the Niner game last night, too.
How many of these kids even know who the hell E40 is?
I'm going to go with not many.
But anyway, the E40 ball, I brought you one. There were literally guys. You can put that back. There were literally people that were there just to offer money. Hey, man, I'll give you $20 for that. I'll give you $10 for that. All through the stadium, people are trying to buy the bobbleheads. Because what do? They then put them online and sell them for way more?
Yeah, whatever Dodger bobblehead they were giving away earlier this year, like there were people showing pictures on
How
Twitter.
about the Jose 4040?
Yeah, like I forget,
How about Ricky?
It was an Ohtani bobblehead, and there were pictures of people standing outside with like 3 bags each of just bobbleheads of Ohtani that they're going to go and sell on eBay or Facebook Marketplace or wherever you buy items online now. Not Amazon, but like those kind of places. That's what people are doing there. And who knows? I'll probably like a fake signature on it and say that Ohtani signed it.
E40. How do you sign E40?
Yeah.
E40. So I did not sell my E40. I brought you one. You got my wife's. I brought you one, Commander, because I knew E40 cow bobblehead doll would be big for you.
Yeah, well, you said it to me the other day perfectly. I'm a Bay Area rap honk. So
yeah,
like we're big Yankee guys today. I'm a big Bay Area rap guy.
But here's the thing. So I've been around quite a few people and been to these parties the last 2 weekends. And I was at a big party Saturday night. I had parents' weekend 2 weekends ago. So I've been around a lot of folks. And the one thing that I have noticed, especially where we live, right? We're in Giants land, right? The majority of everybody I know and live around, they're Giants fans. It is what it is. I'm amazed at how many Giants fans / just sports fans have come to the realization that the A's got a lot of talent. Now, I don't go talking about it like I've avoided my work like the plague. Like I don't want to get into it. How many people have come to me? And I had a group of fathers the other night. They're like, oh, man, I started tuning into your games. You guys got talent. I wish we had that talent. I think we need to come to grips that the baseball world is starting to realize that the next few years for A's baseball is going to be exciting and that there is talent. JJ Bleday is going to join us tomorrow. That people around the sport have realized, obviously Mason Miller kind of put it on the map. And then just seeing all this young talent, and then Brent Rooker having an unbelievable year. Brent Rooker now becoming a media darling, which is great to see.
Yeah, he's doing coverage for the coverage for the World Series on social media.
And you think about Lawrence Butler, how he came on. I think people know that hopefully a healthy Miguel Andujar will look. I mean, there's some there. This isn't me going out and talking to people and me trying to gather like I'm out polling, like I'm getting ready for the election.
Focus groups.
These are people coming to me telling me this stuff. And it's time that we move forward and understand. And it kind of got me excited the last couple weekends, and it kind of propped me up going, yeah, I know it. I've been watching it. But the fact that baseball fans, sports fans, even Giants fans, right? Because they're asking me, what do you think about Buster Posey and all that kind of stuff? But they're recognizing, when the other side who does not like you or does not care about you, but they understand what they're seeing, they understand that they're like noticing, like, wow, you guys got something. I dig that. And that's how I want to start the show today. Is that we're now in the process of, yes, it's World Series. Shohei Ohtani, hopefully he's going to play tonight. And yes, would like to see Aaron Judge. These numbers on Aaron Judge are horrific. Would like to see Aaron Judge kind of get to the party as we sold the two big boys, the two MVPs. We know that they're going to win the MVP in the National League and the American League, that both of them would have big World Series, right? So we'll talk about Aaron Judge and his struggles, but we would like to see him get into the mix here. It's this everything is not about our opinion. It's not about our beliefs. And it's not about how we are just in the end dirty trolls. In the end, it's what's best for baseball. And a lot about what we've talked about so far and we'll continue to talk about is what's best for our game. Because what happens in these next X amount of games leads us into the offseason. And before you know it, you'll have Christmas, you'll have New Year's, and then bang, you'll have college playoff, NFL, Super Bowl, and then pitchers and catchers are reporting. It's right around the corner. So what happens in this series will have effect on 2025. But just know this, and I can't wait. We're going to get up to Sacramento and start doing some stuff. And I got some buddies up there too. Just the excitement that is brewing that people know as we'll get further and further away from those last games and the emotion and everything. And you get more toward, there's going to be a baseball season in 2025 and the athletics roster has got talent. So that's just something I just noticed the last 2 weekends. Once again, I'm not looking for it, right? Like, I don't know when somebody comes up to me, I don't know where the conversation's going to go. I don't know where they want to take it. It's been about baseball and it's been about people recognizing that, yeah, you got some players. And yes, that excites me because we've gone into a few off seasons where we haven't had players and we knew we didn't have players. And we just had the general manager on David Force on Friday talking about there's going to be something to talk about this offseason. And it's not going to be trading away guys. It's going to be signing guys. And here you are going, Commander's selling me that the guy going tonight looks like an looks like an Athletic already.
Could be. If you want to give out a 1 year, 2 year deal for $15 million a year or whatever, we saw what happened with Stripling and Wood. Obviously, Stripling was a trade, but Wood is a guy you signed for $9.5 million. Just spend a couple million more if you have the money and bring in a guy like Walker Buehler, especially if he wins another World Series. World Series pedigree, big game pitcher. Why not? The lead a young staff with J.P. Sears and Mitch Spence and Joey Estes.
If you got cash, you're in play. If you're willing to spend money, you're in play.
Yeah, just look at the Royals did last year.
David Force said we're going to spend some money.
Yeah, the Royals spent the most money in the American League last year. And it's not like they were signing Juan Soto. They signed Michael Wacha, Seth Lugo, Hunter Renfroe. Like, they signed guys that were like fringe guys that were not really being utilized in other places, where Lugo was a reliever turned into a starter, and Wacha had a nice year the year before, and he had a good year this year. And now they both had good years for the Royals who made the postseason.
You sent me a very interesting text, and I don't know how accurate it is, but it's what teams' revenues are and what they spend.
Oh, yeah, from the score.
And what there was a score to it, and what I really liked about it is it goes to show that there's certain teams that it seems like they're big spenders, but when you actually see what their revenues are, it's kind of like the dirty little secret, right? Like, you'll think, oh, they spent $200 million, but when you look at how much they actually make, you see that there's teams that make extreme revenues, but they don't want to go over the CBT, luxury tax, however you want to. CBT's not sexy. Luxury tax sounds better.
Yes.
But there's 3 different thresholds, right? And teams don't want to go over it. And if you look at some of the websites that will show you how many teams are literally going to be ditching a ton of payroll, like the New York Mets, Uncle Steve and the New York Mets are dropping from the highest payroll. Their commitments into next year is like 188. They're going to have they're going to come well below the tax. Because what happens is once you get below it, all the penalties, they go away and your clock restarts. Like, the more you're over it year after year after year, you get penalized. They're going to clean that slate, and they're going to have money to spend. That's why a lot of people think Juan Soto may be at Citi Field next year as a New York Met. But really interesting to watch. And we've talked, because I always use the Philly as an example, because obviously with our relationship with NBC Sports California, where the A's games are, and I've worked for years, we know that Philly, I always explain Philly makes, before the season starts, NBC's commitment, I don't know if it's gone up, but it was $250 million. We're going to air your games. Here's $250 million. Here you go. So before they have sold a spring training ticket, a spring training parking, beer, hot dog, merch. As we all know, I got a bazillion of them, the spring training shirts we all love.
I wore one the other day on the show.
Oh, yeah, I love them. They got $250 million. Then they go north to Philadelphia. So before they got any corporate deal, any sponsorship, any luxury box, any season ticket, any parking, once again, merch, booze, food, you name it. Remember, NBC's handing them a check for $250 million. Now, the total payroll, if you take just not the 26 man, if you take like everything with the Phillies, right? Their payroll ended up being like $244 million. So are they really that big of spenders? When you look at the revenue that they make, right? The thing that is, I'll lump us in with like the Rays. Like when you look at how low our revenue is compared to these other teams get this huge, oh, they're big spenders, they're going for it. You're like, whoa. You have no idea what they make. The percentage of what they make and what they spend on payroll. Remember, Philly, for example, is like the NFL. If you don't know it, the NFL television deal every single year goes up and the salary cap goes up. And every single year, the teams, you can't spend over the cap. You are not allowed to spend over the cap in football. So you're guaranteed that the television contracts will always cover the salaries. NFL owners are bulletproof, right? That way. They're never going to get in trouble. Their salaries can't eclipse the television contract. So that's kind of like the Phillies. Phillies are always going, and it's been on par. They always keep their payroll below what television gets them. So everything else is going whoop right in their pocket. So when I saw that article last year, was it last year? I brought it to the table maybe the year before. This whole thing praising the Phillies owner for going for it. And I'm like, man, if you really research this, is he? The only guy that was spending more money than he makes was the Mets and Steve Cohen.
Yeah, and all those guys are gone now.
But they were the only team that said, I don't care. We're about winning. We're going to spend. There was only one team that was doing it. One. The business of baseball. And that's what frustrates me all the time with the callers on the Clubhouse show. It's like they don't get the business. There was one team that was spending what they make. Only one, right? There's no NFL team that spends what they make. If you think the Golden State Warriors are spending what they make, you're crazy. Teams don't do that. But we'll applaud teams who it looks like they're spending a lot of money. But when you actually look at their revenues, and I don't think that guy can, because, I mean, baseball doesn't show its books, so I think that's kind of a projection. But if you look at how much money they're spending and then what their payroll is, remember, the numbers we were seeing, they're not,
Mm-hmm.
They're probably more. I mean, you're kind of guesstimating on that, but it just goes to show we applaud certain teams and you're like, man, they're not even spending close to what they make. They make so much money. That's been a criticism of our neighbors, the Giants, right? You went through 3 World Series, you got all this money coming in, and you look at, the Giants spend, and you go, well, they do, but how much? And I understand that ownership group had a lot of cash calls back in the day. They had a lot of cash calls. And it's business, and at some point you get tired of the cash calls. I understand. Ballpark's now paid off. Things are a little bit different, but always make sure to look at what teams understand what they're spending. USA Today puts it out every single year. This is what the opening day payrolls, but understand what teams are really making, certain teams, especially because of television contracts, and how that will change our sport because all these contracts will be going away. Because we know more than half the teams in baseball, cable deals are gone.
Well, I don't know if you saw over the week. I think it was over the weekend. It might have been late last week, but the Rangers are now saying they want to slash payroll. A team that just won the World Series last year is wanting to slash payroll. They don't have a TV deal, and they had signed a lot of big contracts, Simeon and Seager, and they're paying for Scherzer. So they have a lot of DeGrom. They have a lot of guys on their payroll, and they need to start slashing it because I think with the no TV money they're having come in, they're going to start seeing the downfall of that.
you start to wonder, how much money really do you make when you win a World Series? Obviously, there's the bump, but fans believe that it's this holy grail that you win the championship. It's all about winning the championship. And that's what we want to believe. What are the Rangers showing you? They lost their television deal and they're cutting payroll. They just won a World Series, right? How many years did winning 3 championships buy Bruce Bochy and Brian Sabean? You thought, man, you win 3 titles in a city that's never won a title from a baseball standpoint, that you'll tell me when you want to leave. It now is ridiculous that Bruce Bochy and Brian Sabean is an unbelievable baseball executive. Friend of the program, Brian Sabean.
Yeah, he's with the Yankees again now.
Brian Sabean, I don't know if he'll go into the Baseball Hall of Fame, but we're throwing everybody else in there these days. We want to make everybody up. Brian Sabean's career from the Yankees to the Giants back to the Yankees. Brian Sabean has had an unbelievable run in San Francisco. Now, we had him on last year as he went into Bay Shop, the Bay Area Sports Hall of Fame. Well deserved. I've always had a tremendous respect for Brian Sabean. Brian Sabean got replaced by Farhan. Gabe Kapler, you ran out Bruce Bochy for Gabe Kapler. You want to tell me how much it means to win a championship? We talk about it. We act like it's the holy grail to money and success. They won 3 titles in San Francisco, and they wanted to run out Sabean, Bobby Evans, and Bruce Bochy even before they actually did it. Remember the rumblings?
Yeah.
I mean, people want to run them out. So it's like, wait a minute. Does that not show you what you think the championship is a holy grail, but a championship buys you no time because you want more and you want more and then things fall apart really quick. So we always say we act like this championship because it's like the sugar high, right? Cotton candy, this is the greatest thing ever. And then you have the parade and everybody talks about it's the greatest thing ever. And 2 years later, you want everybody fired. So the championship, that's why consistency is, and whether you like it or not, it's why the Dodgers have been a role model, right? It's why the Braves were a role model. And people will, I'm talking about the Braves, the Bobby Cox and, their big 3 and Chipper Jones, Andrew Jones, and all those guys. They are the model. It's like, well, they didn't win they only won 1 championship. It's like, yeah, but you know what? From a business standpoint, that consistency of Dave Roberts and the Dodgers now, winning the division 11 out of 12 years?
Yeah, the only year was the Giants 107, 2021.
Yeah, and they won 106. It's that consistency. The Yankees, even though they'd only been to the World Series since 2009, that consistency of being there every single year is really what you strive for. That championship is not going to buy you any time. For God's sakes, they ran out they ran out Joe Girardi. Haven't been to the World Series since till now. And now we've even talked about with Boone and Roberts, whoever doesn't win gets run out of town. The Rangers are another great example of maybe the championship doesn't bring you as much as you think. And it'll be interesting, like with the Warriors. How many years will the Warriors go without winning a championship before the Warrior fans start going, well, I'm not so sure anymore. Bob Myers is now gone.
Kerr's in his 11th season. It's crazy.
Yeah, like what? Steph Curry's 35?
No, he's
36?
37. He'll be 37 next year.
No, what? So he's 36.
No, he's actually 37 now.
No way.
No, he's 1988, so he's 36. Yes.
I thought he was 35.
No, he's like 6 months older than I am. Yeah, he's 36.
Steph Curry's got hurt again.
Yep.
Steph Curry's 36 years old. Like, at what point now do those 4 championships?
Klay Thompson's gone.
I mean, at what point will people start going, maybe need to make a change? So, I don't know, champion. By the way, back to the World Series, Game 2. We need the Yankees to step up here. We need Aaron Judge, because as Aaron Judge goes, the Yankees go. We need Aaron Judge. He is, if you look, we're not going to nerd out on the numbers because there are so many. As you know, we get the MLB notes, and there are so many numbers.
Fact.
It's just like, dude, I want to watch the game and enjoy it.
I mean, there's hot and cold zones in the notes now.
I mean, serious. He's not seeing fastballs.
No, he's seen out of the 43 pitches, he's seen 2 so far in the World Series.
Yeah, he's not seeing fastballs, and I can tell you, as I'm not going to nerd you out too much, but the biggest problem with him is his chase rate has gone way up. When Aaron Judge is going great, Aaron Judge allows the ball to go outside. He doesn't chase it. He waits for the heater, gets the heater, mashes it because he mashes fastballs. His chase rate in the regular season is 18.7. For a big man, that's why he's the MVP. His chase rate this postseason is 28.7. It's gone up 10%. That's a lot. His strikeout percentage has gone from regular season 24.3. Take a guess to what it is in the postseason.
I thought I wrote it down, but I guess I didn't. What was it? You said it was 24?
24.3.
34.
38.
Oh.
38. I mean, he's setting records for striking out 3 times or more in a game in the post. I mean, he's got to get going. And if you ask me, I want you to be Yankee honk. What literally almost makes me ill. It makes me ill that I have to like I have to root for the Yankees. And I'll tell you why I have to root for the Yankees, because the numbers don't lie. A team that goes up 3-0 in the best of 7 is 39-1. That one obviously is Dave Roberts' famous stolen base, and the Red Sox come back in 2004
against the Yankees. Maybe they can flip the cycle now.
Best of 7 all time, a 2-0 lead. The team wins 84% of the time, 77 of 92. So I want this to be a series, right? So this is one of my 5 things that I'm noticing, the notes that I've put down. This chase rate and this whiff rate is unbelievable. So what would I do? I got to mix it up. You know what I would do? I would have Juan Soto hit behind.
I was going to ask you if you should move him change the order around.
Put him number 2. Glaber lead off, have Judge hit 2, and have Soto hit behind him. Just you got to do something to get him going, because
see if the lineup's out for the Yankees. I saw the Dodgers lineup was out already.
I mean, the numbers are when he hits, they win. There is no. It's just, you look in the regular season, he hits, they win. He doesn't hit, they don't win. And when I talked about, the biggest question is, how are they going to score if they're not hitting bombs? How do they get their mojo? How do they? Because the Dodgers hit home runs, but the Dodgers just hit, and that's one of the things that I'll get into. But Judge has to hit, and when Judge hits, they go.
He's hitting third still, so Soto's still.
I don't like it. They got to do something to change it up for him, and he's not going to see fastballs. Walker Buehler is going to be throwing cutter, curve, sweeper. He's not going to see any fastballs, and that's a problem. But the number one thing that you could look at so far in this World Series and take this to the bank is just how deep the Dodger lineup is. And you can just look at the first 2 lineups, right? You got Cole, righty, Rodon, the lefty, right? Games 1 and game 2 for the Yankees. Tommy Edman is hitting 9th in game 1.
Playing shortstop.
Game 2, where's he hitting?
5th and playing center field, right?
Yep. So you got a guy who, Scott Emerson is texting. Have you seen this? Did you do this?
No, I did not do that, but that's pretty good.
Can you put this on the screen if I send this to you? Scott Emerson, it's an A's cast, and he's got his Dr. Emo. I guess people won't be able to see it. He's got his Dr. Emo coat on. When is he?
In a couple minutes. So Unfortunately, now that we're using a different computer, I don't have any of those drops of George. I'd have to get them.
But yeah, that's to look at the versatility of the Dodgers lineup. Now, your top three, we know, strong as can be. But the whole versatility of the line, when Tommy Edman can bat ninth and fifth and play center field and shortstop, I mean, it's just Miguel Rojas now comes in, plays short in game 2. Their versatility is what the game is all about. And if you want to ask what wins in tournament baseball, I mean, Brian Kinney and MLB Network's been asking, the regular season is a grind. Playoff baseball. Well, playoff baseball versatility is unreal. And it's such a strength to where you can have guys. I mean, Teoscar Hernandez, you can hit him all over the place. You think he's made himself some money this postseason?
Yeah, not to be selfish, but I did pick him to win the World Series MVP. A good producer always brings it back to himself.
Oh. All right.
But he did. I mean, he signed for what, like $18 million or something? It wasn't that much.
I mean, if we brought Ken Korak on, would Ken Korak be bragging that he picked Freddie Freeman to be the MVP? I don't think Ken would do that because Ken is more secure than that.
Oh, wow. This is Emo's here, and fans are going to really enjoy what he has on.
So, Dodgers deep lineup, 2-strike hitting for the Yankees, awful. For the Dodgers, really damn good. You want to know the difference in a series? It's 2-strike hitting. The difference between hitting 257 and 167. The difference between slugging 514 with 2 strikes versus the Yankees at 310. You want strikeout percentage? You got 2 strikes on you. Can you put the ball in play? Yankees can't. Their strikeout percentage is almost 50% with 2 strikes. Take a guess what the Dodgers is. Dodgers with 2 strikes are striking out what percentage?
Nowhere near that.
Take a guess.
24.
27.8. They're hard to strike out. And if there's a man that knows anything about striking anybody out, I need a doctor. Is there a doctor in the house? Dr. Emo, how are you?
I'm doing great. How you guys doing?
Man, look at your – now, for everybody who's listening on A's Cast, I apologize for this, but everybody watching on Twitter and YouTube, look how great that setup is. You got the doctor's coat on. You've got the patches on the coat. Your jerseys in the background look phenomenal.
Well, I figured, I appreciate the fans, and I figure I have to wear the coat at least one time, right?
I love it. I love it. Of course, Road Trip Mike and the Renegades came up with that coat for you. I think it's super, super cool to honor our fans doing it like that. I know them watching today. It's going to mean a lot. I started the show today. I've done a lot of these. Like I had a parents' weekend up at Cal, and I did some party stuff with some people. Emo, I got to tell you, a lot of people here that I know, even like Giants fans or just sports fans, they've come to me to talk about. They're like, man, you guys got a lot of talent. You guys are going to be exciting next year. Now that you've had a little time to reflect on the season, recharge a little bit, I know we're the same way. Like going forward, I don't know how you're not going to be excited. And there's young players and there's young talent. What have you been thinking about since the last time we talked to you?
Yeah, I've been thinking about a lot about the last half of 17 comparable to our half at the end of the season this year, and what our pitching is going to do next year. And who, obviously because I had Bassett, Montas, and Manaea so long, I always compare our pitching to those 3 guys. And with Spence and Sears and Estes and Beto and Basso and Ginn, the guys that Joe Boyle, the guys that ended the season with us, from a starting group, there's a lot to look forward to in spring training and a lot of healthy competition. Obviously we want to get the ball to the Sporting News Rookie of the Year, Mason Miller, at the end of the game. And, our bullpen with Otañez and Ferguson, did a great job, and we'll see what the front office comes up with to round out the rest of that bullpen with some of the free agents we have. But obviously we played a competitive baseball in the second half. It was a lot of fun. So you're always trying to compare that to how we moved forward from 17 to 18 to win those 97 games.
I don't think a lot of people really understand the journey of Mason Miller. And the journey is pretty amazing. As a father of a child who has diabetes, when it first happens, it's now obviously I've talked with Mason about it. He was an adult. My daughter was a child, but it really is a dramatic. It's dramatic on the entire family, and it's a dramatic thing for Mason. I know for my daughter, because now your life has changed forever, right? Your path is now different. And for Mason Miller as an athlete, he's never been healthy, right? He's never been healthy. Forget about his arm. We talk so much about his arm. He had never been healthy till he had, his pancreas wasn't working, right? So and then finally figures out what's wrong. He's able to help himself. And then he still struggles with the arm staying healthy. So it's been this journey of always recovering and always rehabbing and always trying to figure out what's wrong. And really, for the first time in his adult career, he got a chance to be healthy and just pitch and be a pitcher. And he's doing it in a different role, which was in the bullpen, which you never know from starter to reliever if that is going to work. I am so happy that he got this Sporting News Award Rookie of the Year, because I think if you really look at his life journey, it really shows you how amazing this season was for him.
Yeah, I may play a doctor on the baseball field, but you're also looking at another diabetic. I got diabetes as well, and understanding, it's just really, really tough living your lifestyle with the food choices for myself, and the way a professional athlete like Mason Miller can overcome this, and his sleep, what he eats. Our nutritionist really does a great job of helping all our players of what we should be doing. And probably I should be listening more, but I made a lifestyle change a few years ago, and basically trying to control my weight. I was a big heavy set guy. For all those Modesto A's fans that used to see me in Modesto, I was really, really big. And in Stockton, I was really, really big. And, it's tough. But to be at the level that Mason Miller is and controlling it and going out, night in and night out, being available for his team, the travel, the sleep, he's done a tremendous job at managing that part of his life. And it's translated to the field itself and becoming one of the most dominant closers in all of baseball.
Yeah, it's so fun to see, and I love the fact that he embraced the role, and then all of a sudden he gets out there and he realized this is the finality of things, right? That's the one thing about those last three outs are so different than any other outs. I don't care. You can high leverage me to death in the 6th, 7th, and 8th. There's nothing like those last three outs, and the juice that you get from getting those last three outs, it's addicting. And he got addicted to it. So there was all this talk about, he's going to go back to being a starter. It's like, whoa. In my opinion, the way you guys run pitching staffs now, instead of running him out there every 5, maybe 6 days and always worried about, he can factor in way more games in this role. And the juice that he got at first, like at Yankee Stadium, and carried on throughout the year, I could see it kind of reminds me a lot of Jason Isringhausen, right? Back in the day when he was supposed to, that big 3 that they had there in New York. But Jason Isringhausen, he's now in the St. Louis Cardinals Hall of Fame, made a lot of money changing that role. Do you see Mason Miller staying in this role and kind of like what we saw with Isringhausen?
Yeah, I do. I think he really enjoys this role. He's one of those guys for me that's cool, calm, and collected. You hear me say that all the time. He gets out there, he's got a game plan, he understands his game plan, and he goes out and attacks. But what makes a reliever even more special is when they do get knocked down, how quick can they get back up? And he does a great job of that. I think he's well prepared. Dan Hubbs, our bullpen coach, and him are on top of a lot of things during the game as well. And, I think he's taken to this spotlight. I mean, if you look at Blake Trinan and you look at Liam Hendriks, when they were actually the closer, you saw a spike in velocity go up, and just attention to detail that those three guys put into closing out games is very impressive. And Mason, what an unbelievable person, but what an unbelievable closer. When you give him the baseball, you're in good hands. And, like I said, if something happens, you feel good about him having that ability to get knocked down and bounce right back up and forget what happened the day before and go out and give you a good outing the next day.
All right. So when you're in that dugout and you're mentioning 2017 and you start seeing those young guys hit and you started seeing those young hitters get confidence, what did you see now in the second half with these hitters? I mean, obviously Brent Rooker's not a young guy. Andujar's not a young guy. But with the young guys, what did you see in the confidence of the young position players in the second half, and how did you see them grow?
Well, I think obviously it starts with our hitting coaches, Darren Bush, Mike Aldretti, and Chris Crone, just grinding those guys in the cage and grinding those guys before the bat and the preparation. But it's also about those hitters having to buy in to what they're saying. And, Butler and J.J. Bleday and Geloff, and they just do a great job. And Shea Langoliers, what a turnaround that he made over the course of the season on the offensive side. And so, it just deepens your lineup and the depth of it. You got to cover 1 through 9. And when you got to cover 1 through 9, obviously from the pitching side, that's not easy because you can't take any at-bats off. Not that major league pitchers do, but sometimes you'd like to be able to breathe a little bit and know you can go in a certain area with a certain pitch to a certain hitter on a consistent basis. But when you have that lineup that gets stretched out and you keep the roller coaster going, meaning guys get on base, and table setters. When you have good table setters, guys that are willing to hit what pitchers give you. I think that's something that, from a pitching side that you're looking at these grinders on the other side of the ball when we're game planning, how many pitches is he going to foul off? How many pitches is he going to see? Does he give you a good at bat? And when you got 9 guys giving you a good at bat and a guy that's just willing to put balls in play and get on base, that's why Cleveland was so tough for us this year. They had a lot of grinders and a lot of guys that just put a lot of balls in play. And we got a lot of pitch to contact type pitchers early in the season, and they just grind you, and they're willing to hit what you give them. When you're an offense that's willing to hit what the pitch gives you, then you become a better offense, in my opinion. And, I'm speaking from the other side of the ball, but, just watching our offense do that and watching how much these guys work together and just sitting in the dugout when we're hitting and watching the hitters talk to each other after at bats it was impressive this year.
All right. So when you look at your catchers, you mentioned Shea Langoliers, Kyle McCann. I believe it's going to be a great 1-2 punch. You love having your backup catcher in an ideal world because you don't have a lot. Because you got 8 million pitchers on your team, you don't have a ton of guys on the bench. So having a left-handed hitting backup catcher for pitch hitting purposes is key. But when you talk about these two catchers, because you work so much with them, we saw them both grow offensively, but you work with them for all the meetings with the pitchers and before the games. Talk how they've grown mentally and working with them as becoming cerebral catchers and how they handle the pitching staff.
Yeah, well, first, I can't say enough about our catching coach, Marcus Jensen. Marcus is a constant pro of getting these guys to be prepared. They do their homework. Obviously, our coaching staff and our analysts, we put together our pitch plan and a game plan for every hitter that we're going to face. But the catchers are also doing their homework. And then we have a meeting at the start of the series, and then we have a meeting with the starter each and every night. So these guys have got to be well prepared. We're trying to hit them with short, easy, quick nuggets that they can remember. Obviously, you got 13 pitchers. You go out there, you got to catch the game. The game speeds up on you. How can they slow the game down? We got a wristband that gives them some cliff notes to their game plan. But Marcus does an amazing job of reminding them. we're talking in between innings. Marcus has the freedom to talk to him as well in between innings. Marcus and I are talking in between innings and relaying that message and the work that they get. Shea did most of the catching, but Mac did a lot of work with Marcus in that bullpen to be ready to catch our pitchers. And, I want to get their feedback on how our pitchers are pitching. So, it was really exciting to work with those two guys along with Marcus and Dan Hubbs and our data team to put together some game plans and see where we can go. And now it's like the offseason is to get their even more feedback. How do they want the transition of information? And, you want it to be theirs. You want them to be able to come to a meeting and have a plan themselves. And when Sean Murphy was here, he was very vocal in giving his plan, which I love. And Shea and Mac are starting to step up and do the same thing. And they're out there playing, and we're just there to guide them.
All right, let's get into not only this World Series with the playoffs, because the one thing that I want to talk to you about is the word exposed. During the regular season, we have learned over time that it's a starter you don't want going through the lineup a third time. You don't want exposing him a third time. As players see pitchers more, they get more comfortable with the guys, the more they see them. That is the regular season philosophy. The question is now, when we get into the postseason and starters really aren't going deep, and you have set relievers in a series, 5 games, 7 games, and these lineups start seeing the same relievers over and over and over again. We're talking about not wanting to expose the starters during the regular season. Are teams falling into a trap in the postseason? People talked about Blake Trinan already. Is that, are we now really overexposing the same reliever? As we're in tournament baseball now, are we overexposing the relievers because we're taking the starters out so early? And these hitters are saying that it's even the same relievers day after day after day.
Yeah, I think obviously when pitchers see the same pitcher or hitters see the same pitchers over and over again, they start to get more intel and starting to feel more comfortable. I've heard you talk about, and even before I came on, tournament baseball. And that's what this is right now, is tournament baseball. What's funny to me is, we're always talking about how can we make starters more relevant, but with all these off days, we had 3 off days going into the World Series. I believe we might be getting a bullpen game after an off day. I think for me, and this is just my opinion, I'd like to see less off days and see that 5th starter be more incorporated into the game. Play like the regular season, where you got to play 10 days, 13 days in a row before you get an off day. When you get these off days and you get to reload your bullpen, it's an advantage. And, I can tell you this, if a pitcher goes out there and he's 12 up, 12 down, and with 12 punch outs, he's probably going out there for the next inning, right? So, a lot of it is, the scoreboard, how you're pitching. That kind of dictates where you're at. During the season, sometimes you got to take your starter longer, obviously, because there's no off day tomorrow. But game 2 of the World Series, you're playing to win right now, keep the game as close as possible right now. And that's why you're seeing the starter get pulled a little bit earlier, because we're trying to keep the game as close for as long as possible in this tournament type of play. It's simple. You want to get the starters more relevant. You got to shorten up the off days, but reward a team for winning, 2 out of 3, 2 in a row. Reward a team for winning 3 out of 5, 3 in a row, where they get those off days. But it's just going to happen. That's just the way American Legion type baseball is played, and high school baseball is played. If you're not pitching your number 1 in high school, when the game gets close in the 4th or 5th inning, you're going to keep the game close with somebody else if something happens.
My problem with this theory, and I had a problem with Stephen Vogt, and I love Stephen Vogt. To me, I almost got at times a sense of panic. And if you're always going to act like the guy coming out of the bullpen is better than the guy on the mound, because you start doing it with relievers, right? It's like starters out early, but now you're going reliever after reliever after reliever. You're always acting like the guy warming up in the unknown is better than the known. So if a guy walks somebody or gives up a hit, it's like, oh my God, we got to go to the bullpen. I just want it to be out there that sometimes you may be switching guys too much, because the numbers will show it to back me up that the guy always warming up in the bullpen is not always better than the guy coming out on the mound.
Yeah, I mean, I really find it hard to believe that, you got a right-handed pitcher pitching and then you're warming up a right-hander behind him. You got a right-handed
all the time.
Right. You got a right-handed pitcher and you got a left-hander warming up behind him. Well, that's good game strategy. You got a right-handed pitcher warming up behind a right-hander. You're just waiting for that right-hander to fail. But if he fails, you got to bring in somebody to keep that game close. What is failure? Failure is different for all of us. You give up one run. Is that failure? Sometimes a reliever goes out and gives up one run. The chances are the next inning he's probably not going to give up any runs, but we tend to move on to the next guy. And sometimes that's just so we can keep a guy fresh for more games he can pitch in later down the line. So in the playoffs or in the World Series, you're not worried about tomorrow. You're worried about keeping the game close for today. But you do bring up a valid point. Okay, Blake Trinan has seen these same three guys, then he's going to see him again, and then he's going to see him again. He might see him 4 times in the same series. Well, the hitter gains intel, and not saying that the hitters gain the advantage, but they're going to have a little bit more chance for success the more and more they see the same guy over and over. I know they talked about in the playoffs how some of the teams were trying to have those guys not see the same guys over and over. They would enter the game in a different part of the lineup.
I'll ask, let's see if the commander knows. Commander, if there was one thing that the Yankees had the advantage in going into the series, it was what?
Oh,
one thing. Come on. We have a pitching coach on. I'm going.
I know it's a pitching thing, but I'm trying to think like they're starting pitching.
They had 4 starting pitchers, right? And are you shocked after 2 games, Emo, that the Dodgers starting pitching has been better, more productive, and pitched more than the Yankees so far?
I'm not shocked at all. I mean, once you get to the World Series, the 13 guys that you got pitching on your team are pretty dang good, right? I mean, they're going to roll out Buehler in Game 3. I mean, who wouldn't want to have Walker Buehler roll out for Game 3, a guy with electric stuff? If he's on, it's going to be a tough day for the Yankees because he's got really good stuff. So now, for me, it's who can we get out there that's pitching really good? I think it's 11 plus innings the starters have gotten out of their 2 starters and 9 innings that the Yankees have gotten out of their 2 starters. And you're just going to pitch your bullpen a little bit more. But, this is October baseball. This is what big leaguers do. This is what the big leagues are all about. Hey, can you pitch today? Yes. That's what a big leaguer is. That's how important, your bullpen guys are, even throughout the course of the season. When you go to them, Dan Hubbs and I, we go to our relievers every day. We watch them play catch. We watch them throw. We generally have an idea who should not pitch. Some guy might surprise us and say, hey, I feel really good today. And if they feel really good today, then Dan and I have to sit back and determine, do we think as coaches that we should pitch him? If I go into a game and Dan goes into the game and we both say, hey, we don't think we should pitch this guy today, he really has to do a lot of convincing to us to pitch him. But in this playoff situation, we all played. Look, man, somebody comes to me in a playoff game and I threw 100, and I did this in high school. I know it's high school, but I threw 115 one night and came in the next day to get us out of a jam the next day. My high school coach said, how do you feel? I said, I feel great. This is the state tournament. Realistically, I probably shouldn't have pitched. I could have risked something, maybe. But that's the responsibility that the coaches have to put on themselves to say sometimes. But in the playoffs, hey, we're all trying to win tonight, this game right now, and it's all hands on deck in the playoffs. So it really is just a different type of atmosphere. You're playing one game at a time, and you got to keep that one game close because you never know.
And then what he's not telling you is right after that, he went into summer basketball, and he's out there putting up like 27, 10, and 9.
Yeah, my dad got mad. We were getting blown out by New York Riverside Church. What an unbelievable high school summer league basketball team they were. And I took a charge with like 4 minutes to go in the game, down like 45. And my dad yelled at me like, "Hey, you got to pitch the summer league baseball game tonight." But that's just how it was. I was going to step in on you.
By the way, so far, Yankees starting pitching versus Dodgers. ERA for the Yankees 4.82, Dodgers 2.31, and that was when you look at the advantages, it was supposed to go to the Yankees. Hasn't been so far. We will see tonight. Clark Schmidt on the mound against Walker Buehler. Yankee Stadium. We all know about the short porch. It's not only right, it's right center, bandbox, whole different deal, left field, left center. Talk about when you go in there with your pitchers, what is the strategy you had against the Yankees, pitching against the Yankees at Yankee Stadium?
Yeah, obviously, Yankee Stadium is an unbelievable place, just as Dodger Stadium is. Look, when people ask me, "Hey, what's your favorite, ballpark in the big leagues?" I say all 30 of them are very special and sacred ground. But Yankee Stadium, with the history and all the legends and that short porch and right field, sometimes you got to use those elements. You got to crowd some right-handers, maybe a little bit more. You got to pitch a little bit away to them left-handers. But this is the best thing about data. And sometimes data will tell you, hey, a left-handed hitter is what we call hook to pull. You throw him away, he hooks to pull it. So you might have to pitch inside. I go back and we always talk about Derek Jeter. Jeter loves right field, right? But Jeter also liked the ball in. He kept his hands inside and inside out balls. We try to keep balls away from Derek Jeter and make him go to right field and get his hands away from his body and take the sting out of it. So that's the important thing of really diving into the data, really understanding what you need to do. Keeping Stanton fastballs away to Stanton, fastballs elevated for Stanton, and have him chase breaking balls. When you make a mistake to Stanton on breaking balls in close to him, you see where he puts it. He's got an unbelievable knack to hit a hanging breaking ball. And that's what makes him dangerous. He can be late on a fastball at Yankee Stadium and go to right field, and he can turn on a hanging breaking ball. So it's putting those pitches in good locations to the big power hitters, and understand one swing of the bat can get either team back into a ball game. Eliminate walks. Be aggressive, go after them. Take your strikeout with 2 strikes when you can. Try to go for a chase pitch, but don't walk, guys. Don't give a free 90 feet. When you give free 90 feet to somebody, we're in trouble. And that's when those bullpens are going to start rolling, is when we give free 90s.
What was your guys' scouting report on Juan Soto? How to pitch him?
Oh, man. I mean, Soto for us, we like to crowd him right-handed breaking balls. We like to get left-handed breaking balls away from him. We like to get balls in off the plate to maybe move his feet. And this is probably most everybody's generic report as well. But, and you got to get ahead, and you got to hope he swings. This is one of the best hitters in the world. You make you try to throw a back foot breaking ball and you leave it down and in. What I mean by back foot is something that's a chase zone, something in around his back foot for him to decide he's going to swing at it and swing over top of it. If you lay it down and in, you could be in trouble. Trying to get him to chase elevated fastballs, but he's fairly patient. So, changeups are important as well, because if hitting is time and pitching is disruption of timing, how are we going to disrupt Juan Soto's timing? We just can't keep throwing fastballs and breaking balls. We got to throw changeups. Changeups are great in fastball counts. Here comes the heater. Whoops, we pulled the string. Maybe we can get a quick out. Maybe we can get a quick rollover. But when you're facing, these guys that are in the World Series, execution is a must. You got to have really good stuff, and you got to execute it. That's why these teams are in the playoffs.
All righty. It is the offseason. You're always looking to grow. You're always looking to get better, gain more knowledge. What are you doing this offseason, Dr. Emo? Where is your clinic going to learn more?
Well, right now, it's great. Dan Hubbs and I talked to some of our data guys today, matter of fact, and we're just trying to put together some off-season plans for every pitcher, coming to big league camp. What are the expectations? I always feared kind of tinkering with guys in the off-season because I was never there, or Dan Hubbs or Marcus Jensen were never there. But we have so much data and so many resources, and these guys are going to places that have the TrackMan, that have the Rapsodo, that if we need to experiment, hey, we can get on a Zoom like we are right now. We can get on the telephone and see things. They can send us in data so we can see if things are working. So it's kind of pushing our off season into a little bit more of a doctor mode, I guess, and really putting guys under the microscope and seeing if we can make adjustments and where we can make adjustments. Listening to our data team led by Pike Goldschmidt, Miles, and Andrew talk about each and every guy, letting Dan Hubbs and I know, okay, where can we make some analytical adjustments to their pitch metrics to help us get guys out, whether it's keeping his arm slot in a certain area, whether it's trying to get more spin. Obviously, everybody always says, well, just throw it harder. Well, that's the easiest thing. Just throw your breaking ball harder. And I would say, let me write that one down. Yeah, a harder breaking ball in general is a better breaking ball. Can we do that is the question. So, Dan and I are taking the intel that our data team is giving us, and we're going to have more conversations as the offseason goes, because we want our players to be the best that they can be. I think that hopefully that our pitchers know how much Dan Hubbs and I care for them each and every day, and are looking to get them better. And then it's our job when we get the resources from the data team to kind of massage it or cut it down or say he can do that. I believe that this might be a little stretch for him at this present time. But obviously, we want guys to execute pitches better. How are we going to do that? Whether it's mechanic-wise or making a pitch better. But I always say sometimes instead of making your pitches better, make better pitches. You have to execute these pitches. If we're watching the playoffs, what's happening when they hit these bombs and these long homers? It's a breaking ball that's generally left close to the hitter that he turns on. So how can we get these guys to minimize their mistakes? And when we do that, we're just going to go to a whole different level.
It's funny when someone tells me in golf, I just got to hit it harder. All of a sudden, the ball just starts going foul pole to foul pole. And it's the wrong sport. Golf's the wrong sport, Emo, to go foul pole to foul pole.
Well, you just got to hit it harder down the middle of the fairway.
Yeah. So,
how are you going to do that?
I become Wade Boggs, and I'm foul pole to foul pole, and golf is not when you want to be Wade Boggs.
Well, you better have a good approach shot. I'm a great guy that hits a lot of good shots out of the weeds. Why? Because I'm in the weeds a lot, and I'm there a lot. I remember years ago I was in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and my father-in-law and I were playing 3 or 4 days in a row. And he was like, "Hey, tomorrow we're playing a really good golf course. You got to bring your A game." And I was like, it doesn't matter. I'm hitting out of the rough at this really good course, or I'm hitting out of the rough at this really bad course. I just got to be able to hit out of the rough and make my second shot really good with one of my irons.
Hey, you know your game.
Yeah. Now I really have more fun when my driver is in the fairway. Yeah. But yeah, I'm like any other hacking golfer. I want to get on the tee box. I want to put the ball in the ground, and I want to hit it as far as I can. Now, I understand, if I'm playing for something and it's a really good gentleman's bet, then I might have to back down a little bit to my 3-wood to put the ball in play. But I don't practice enough too. And that's one thing, about golf. If I go to the driving range and I'm really working on my driver and I'm really trying to hit it off the tee, and then I go and compete and I'm terrible at it, well, guess what? I'm terrible, right? But if I go to the driving range and get my driver right, I feel really good about my golf game.
I equate pitching to golf all the time. For me, it's about throwing strikes, and throwing strikes is being in the fairway and hitting it on the green. Just throwing strikes. I'm just there to throw. I'm not trying to blow everybody. I got to throw it. When I throw strikes, score goes down.
Well, that's a great segment into our, why do pitchers want to throw harder, right? Why do golfers want to hit the ball farther? When you're in the big leagues and you're hitting, a 3-iron off the tee, it's probably not good enough, right? So you got to learn to hit that driver if you want to play on the PGA Tour. If you're going to be any good in the PGA Tour, you better learn to hit the driver, right? So on the mini tour and on the white tees courses, when I'm playing and I'm playing the white tees, that 3-wood or that 3-iron off the tee is good enough. That's why, these guys want to throw harder, because sometimes it's not good enough. And they got to be able to throw harder within their means. Throw hard, throw strikes, hit golf ball hard, stay in fairway. That's what elite guys do.
All righty. Did the big golf trip, and I'm promising you 2025 is going to be known as the Pinehurst trip.
Oh, I love it.
So I'm coming to see you 2025. It's going to be Pinehurst, the famous Pinehurst. And then, as you have said, there's courses around here just as nice as Pinehurst, number 2.
Yeah, there's a lot of great courses in the Pinehurst area, and I love playing them all.
We will see you I'll see you sooner, but I promise you we're going to do a golf trip to come see you, my friend, in 2025. Be well. We'll be in touch. You are the best. The coat looks amazing, and I hope all is well for everybody there in North Carolina. I hope people are healing and getting better there, and we will talk to you soon, my friend.
Thanks for having me.
The great Dr. Emo, Scott Emerson, the pitching coach of the Oakland Athletics. How good is that? I just said Oakland. We're going to have a tip jar. Pitching coach for the Athletics. Ding! How good was that?
That was great. I mean, I hope Road Trip Mike and George and everyone was watching and saw the
I got a text Road Trip. Did you just see that?
But no, that was great, because I'm glad we talked about the A's, because we're talking about the future of the A's going into next year, but we also talked about the World Series. And Evo, big fan of Walker Buehler, huh? That's my biggest takeaway.
Hey, Walker Buehler likes throwing in cold weather. How many pitchers have you ever heard say that? He likes the wind, because when it swirls, I have no idea what the weather's going to be like in New York. I saw some shows from there earlier today. The sun is out. What is it in the Bronx? Is it going to be windy?
I'm trying to get there.
Because that's the
Weather
thing.
Channel's loading.
Because that's the thing when they talk about, and whether it's Oakland or San Francisco or places that you need, Texas back in the day, windy, is it going to affect? It affects the ball. And Walker Buehler said when he was pitching against the Mets at Citi Field, he likes it cold. He likes pitching in the cold, and he likes it a little windy because he thinks it helps movement.
It says it's 57 degrees right now. I'm just going to try to look at the hourly, see how it's going to transition.
49.
The game starts at 8 o'clock, right? 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 our time. So it looks like it'll be like 55 degrees, I think it said.
It's not. It's perfect.
Come on.
It's perfect.
There's going to be people out there in gloves and beanies.
In New York, there might be guys there with no shirts on. 55's nothing.
Well, the Giants are playing on Monday Night Football, too. It's big night in New York. Well, they're playing on the road.
That's in New Jersey.
Yeah, that's true. The Meadowlands.
Yes.
They're playing in Pittsburgh anyway.
The New York Football Giants and the Jets do not play in New York. They play in New Jersey. And it's awful. And you want to talk about wind? It's windy. You're out there in the swamp. And when I obviously did games there, when the Raiders played there, and you just sit there the entire game, and it's just blowing the entire game. And when it's cold, it's miserable. It's miserable.
Things aren't great for New York football teams right now, so good thing they have the Yankees.
Oh, wow. That's
not even what I tried to.
Wow.
What I even was looking at on Twitter.
Oh, go back to that. That's all right. Coming up next, TMZ Smut. We're gonna do TMZ. We're doing Smut TMZ, and TMZ's always right. You're not gonna believe. You ready for the tease?
Yes, I'm always ready.
You're not gonna believe who's pregnant. Next, right here on A's Cast Live.
This is Commander Cody, and fall is upon us, and Link Soul has dropped their new fall line. New pants fit for a more custom experience with elevated layers and performance polos to help transition from season to season, no matter if you're wearing them out on the golf course, out to dinner, or just hanging out with friends. Some effortless looks to help you find the right look and feel for any occasion. Go to their website, linksoul.com. That's linksoul.com, and find out how you can unlock 20% off your next order. Remember, in the big leagues, to play good, you got to look good. If you haven't been to the Chicken Pie Shop in Walnut Creek, what are you waiting for? You're going to love the new menu, and it's a great place to watch all the pennant race action and the upcoming NFL and college football seasons. Come taste their world-famous chicken pie that has been served in Southern California for 86 years. Spacious indoor and outdoor dining, perfect for your next corporate party or birthday celebration. Don't forget free parking. For more information, go to chickenpieshopwc.com. That's chickenpieshopwc.com.
This is the place where you can dance like nobody's watching, win like nobody's business, and get away like you mean. So what are you waiting for? Come join the party. Take that evening out and make it a night you'll never forget. This kind of action can't be beat.
There's a lot more than golf going on at Cinnabar Hills Golf Club. Sure, there's 27 picturesque and challenging holes of golf, but there's so much more. Saturday, November 16th, it's their second murder mystery dinner, the most wonderful crime of the year. Come dressed in your best ugly Christmas sweater and enjoy an evening of fun, mystery, and delicious food. Reservations required. If you're in charge of the office holiday party, Cinnabar Hills is the perfect venue. And for new clients, book your party before November 30th and get $1,000 off the venue fee, minimum 50 guests. Getting married in 2025? Cinnabar Hills has dates available and they would love to host your special day. Book before December 31st and receive a complimentary chair upgrade for up to 150 people and complimentary cake cutting fee. There's a lot going on. The murder mystery dinner November 16th, your office holiday party, or the site of your perfect wedding. And the golf's pretty darn good, too. For more information, visit CinnabarHills.com. Cinnabar Hills Golf Club, Silicon Valley's premier golf and event destination.
Like sports, business is about winning. Championship decisions are business decisions based on what it takes to help your company win. And that's why there's UBO Business Services, specializing in helping you win every day by streamlining workflows, managing documents, and providing the best-in-class office technology. Make your championship decision with UBO Business Services. Visit them at ubeo.com. That's ubeo.com.
Looking to stay up to date on all things A's? Head over to athletics.com/A'scast. That's athletics.com/A'scast to listen to A's baseball in full 24/7 coverage of the A's, only on A's Cast. With a single click, you can stream great shows, live pre- and post-game coverage, and of course, all the great action of the A's this season. Head to athletics.com/A'scast today.
This is Commander Cody, and fall is upon us, and Linksole has dropped their new fall line. New pants fit for a more custom experience with elevated layers and performance polos to help transition from season to season, no matter if you're wearing them out on the golf course, out to dinner, or just hanging out with friends. Some effortless looks to help you find the right look and feel for any occasion. Go to their website, linksole.com. That's linksole.com, and find out how you can unlock 20% off your next order. Remember, in the big leagues, to play good, you got to look good.
You're listening to A's Cast Live. Here's Chris Townsend.
Martín Gallegos is going to join us in just a little bit as he's been covering the playoffs for MLB.com and, of course, covers the athletics for MLB.com. A lot to get into. Some of his expectations, right, for the offseason. I know he's done a 7 things to look for in the offseason for the athletics.
Yeah, Nick Kurtz was just playing in the he made his fall league debut. I didn't see how he did, but
you can't be young and have hamstring problems. Let's go get on the field, big boy.
I'll have to look up and see how he did, but it's a good step to see him playing in the fall league. We saw David Forstall's how good Henry Bolte and Denzel Clark were doing down there. So there's a lot of excitement with the young guys that aren't just in the major league system right now, or on the major league team, but in the system as well. There's a lot of excitement, a lot of exciting players coming through.
All right, who's pregnant?
Oh,
the only reason I saw this is I look over at his computer. He's got Twitter up, X, and TMZ, but then we look at it. It's being reported all over now.
Gisele, the former wife of Tom Brady, is pregnant with I don't know who the guy is.
Her jiu-jitsu boyfriend.
Yeah.
The
Joaquin
man she was
Valente.
cheating. She was cheating on Tom Brady with the jiu-jitsu instructor.
Joaquin Valente. Gisele is 44 years old, and I forget how many kids her and Tommy have.
2. 14 and 11.
Okay. Tommy, as you know, broadcaster on Fox Sports, he
Yeah.
called the Seahawks game yesterday with Kevin Burkhardt.
Well, if you remember back, and this has nothing to do with baseball, and that's the beauty of the show. The roast, the Tom Brady roast, a lot was brought up about the jiu-jitsu instructor and Gisele, which then was later reported.
Tommy, as you know,
which was later reported, didn't go over well with the family, like the kids, right? Because a lot of people watched that, and it didn't make Gisele, like, as they were trying to rip Tom that his wife cheated on him, right? And he wore it. It's a roast. Didn't make her look really good.
No,
and
not at all.
And in the end, you got 2 kids, and that kid, for those kids, that's your mother, right? You're making my mom look bad. Dad, you're making mom look bad. Dad, you may be pissed, but you're making mom look bad, and she's our mother. And you know what happens when kids have mom getting clowned. Doesn't go over well. Now, remember, Gisele denied this relationship in the beginning.
I did not have this on my bingo card today.
Neither did I. But she denied the relationship and now is pregnant. Wow, that is interesting. Good for her, 44 years old. Good luck. Baby number 3. But it's just been an interesting dynamic in a power couple in America. Supermodel, obviously one of the great supermodels of all time. She made $1 bazillion as a supermodel. When the Olympics was in Brazil, she did her last walk there at the Olympics. If you remember, that was a big deal in Brazil. She's a big deal there. Should be. And she did her final walk. Tom Brady was there. They always seem like the perfect couple, right? And as we all know, except you and your wife, you know, marriage is hard. Marriage is really, really hard. And it didn't work out for them. And Tom Brady still kind of remains pretty low-key about things. But Tom Brady is an American sports star. So it's a story that
and now he's a broadcaster.
It's all over the place.
By the way, the rules, not to go into this too much, but the rules that Brady has to adhere to now as a broadcaster and an part owner of the Raiders. Like, he can't go to broadcast meetings. He can't talk with players on, like,
can't be in the building.
It's like, it's incredible. The guy can't do his job.
I swear to God, it drives me nuts. As somebody who's been in the buildings, right? I've been in the buildings. I used to be in the building in Santa Clara all the time.
4949 Eddie DeBartolo.
I was there all the time. Literally, it's like less than 10 minutes from my house. I did a TV show a long time ago for the Niners where I got a chance to hang out with Mike Nolan and then Mike Singletary.
Mike Nolan.
And then I did Niner stuff when I was at KNBR for all those years. It was John Schrader, Bruce McGowan, Larry Krueger, and I. We did 49er pre- and post-game. So well before the Raiders, I did 49ers. So I've been in the 49er building. And then, of course, all the years I was with the Raiders, I was in the Raider building every single week. There's nothing going on. They act like they got these secrets. And folks, football is and will always be about 2 things. And I tell this to Cody all the time because he's Mr. Fantasy. It's not about fantasy football. Fantasy football doesn't win games. There's 2 things that you have to do to win football games. Well, there's 3 things, but there's 2 most important. What are the 2 things you have to be good at to win football games?
Blocking and tackling.
It's blocking and tackling.
What's the third? Is it scoring?
Turnovers.
I think you have to score to win. So
you turn the ball. Bill Romanowski would say this all the time, and I know Romo's crazy, but Romo won 4 Super Bowls, played in 5. Yeah, Towny, we did Raiders pregame for a couple of years ago. Towny, there's 2 things you need to know. Your quarterback plays well, and you win the turnover battle, you win the game. He would do it all the time. He goes, Joe Montana played well, we won. Steve Young played well, we won. John Elway played well, we won. Richie Gannon played well, we won. That's simple. If Elway or Montana didn't play well, we didn't win. And here, no one played more consecutive games than Bill Romanowski at linebacker, right?
Which is just an insane stat.
It's insane. But it's like it was true, right? It's like if you don't block and tackle, you cannot win because then you can't protect your quarterback, or if you can't stop the other team. It's like Patrick Mahomes. It's like I was playing golf yesterday, listening to the Raiders game against Kansas City, and everything is just 3rd and 2, Mahomes to Kelsey. You can't, I mean, if you can't block for Mahomes, he's never getting the ball to Kelsey. Like, we don't think about how simple it is. Don't turn the ball over, and you got to be able to block and tackle. You guys think it's all about the skilled guys, and it's not. The game is won at the front. Can you impose your will on the other team on both sides of the ball is how football works. You see it in college. You see it in pro. If you can't block, you can't tackle, you got no chance. And then do you win the turnover battle? You turn the ball over, you're done. And I mean, it is what it is. It's kind of like baseball's the same. All sports are the same. It's like Emo was talking about. You play golf. You're hitting the ball in the trees and in the water and in the traps all day long. You're not winning the golf tournament, right? If you can't throw strikes, if you're walking guys, walks are like turnovers. You're constantly walking guys. Good luck. Those guys are going to score. I mean, there's certain things that you have to do in sports. If you're going, there's fundamental things that you have to do. It doesn't matter what level that you have to do if you're going to win. It's just facts.
Well, my question about Brady would be, and it's easy. I'm sure everyone's.
So getting back to the building stuff, I always had like baseball. Everybody's so secretive, right? Football's you got nothing. What secrets you got?
My question is, can Brady come and play quarterback for the Raiders? Nothing against my guy Gardner Minshew, but he just ain't getting the job done.
But the fact that he can't be in the building.
Can't be in the building, can't talk to people.
Do you know what they do? They set up the television like what we have now. This is basically A's Cast Live is morphed into a streaming TV, radio, whatever you want to call it. We've got cameras, we've got lights, that's what they do in the buildings. You go into the building, they set it up, they bring the Fox guys in or the CBS guys or the NBC guys. Sometimes they do it out on the field so it looks better, right, depending on the weather. They're not bringing them into the coach's room and they're going to show it. It's like, so I don't understand why Tom Brady wouldn't be able to go into, let's say, like a lot of the Niners stuff you'll see is done outside because you want to be outside. It's California. It looks better for the television or they'll set up a room in Santa Clara. That's where you're going to talk to, whoever you're going to talk to. You're going to talk to Purdy, you're going to talk to Shanahan, whoever. They're not taking him into, here's the playbook, Tom. I don't get it. It's stupid.
Yeah,
you're right.
It's a paranoia thing. They're worried that he's going to steal the stuff and trend. And
where's he going to sneak into? There's everywhere. There's cameras. He's not going to sneak into.
Well, I think they're afraid.
And then what's he going to take?
I think they're afraid of him getting inside information and going, hey, what's around Antonio Pierce? Hey,
but he's not if he's not broadcasting a Raiders game and he's one of the Raiders owners.
Yeah, it's.
What does it matter if he's doing Chargers, Jaguars? Like what does he gain? He goes into the facility, the Chargers facility. What does he gain by going in there? It's just like literally the paranoia in sports is ridiculous. All right, so I have my 5 things about this series. I told you, Dodgers lineup super deep. If you look at the first 2 Dodger lineups, that's all you need to know. 2-strike hitting. We got into a little bit with Emo, but my God, folks, the 2-strike hitting. Dodgers, they're slugging .514, hitting .257, and they only strike out 27.8% of the time when they have 2 strikes, to where the Yankees strikeout percentage is 44.4. I mean, it's pretty simple. Yankees got to get back into hitting the ball at the ballpark, or they got no shot.
Well, you mentioned, we talked about Judge, but it's in the notes, but Juan Soto and Giancarlo Stanton are combined 5 for 16. That's a .333 batting average, 2 home runs, 4 RBIs. The rest of the Yankees lineup is hitting 164 with 1 RBI.
Yeah. It is what it is. My third thing, and we also went over it with Emo, is the strength for the Yankees was the number one strength for the Yankees was way greater than the Dodgers, and that the Yankees got 4 starting pitchers. And what do the Dodgers have?
Essentially 2, 3, I guess.
3? Walker Buehler's a guy coming off his second Tommy John. Yeah. You don't know what the hell you're getting out of him.
2 and unknown.
I mean, the guy that they paid to be their number 1 guy, really you could say is Glass now. Yamamoto's like, he's young. We're paying him a lot of money. He's got a lot of potential. But, okay, Yamamoto's shown up big. By the way, he's nasty.
Yeah, he is.
He's nasty. But if you're not Get David Force on the phone. If you're not signing Japanese guys, this is me talking to David Force. Everybody should be signing Japanese guys. 15 million people are watching the World Series in Japan. If you're just tuning in, more people watch Game 2 in Japan than in the United States.
Game 2 averaged 15.9 million viewers, so almost 16 million people.
So not only are they ballers, Japanese baseball players are ballers. Your return on investment. George in San Francisco has been trying to tell us this, and we tried with Shintaro. We got Godzilla Matsui a little late, but I'm telling you, they've got all these guys. George has been sending us all these videos of these
articles, names.
They've got all these guys. Like, you should be like, what do you? I mean, no offense to Latin America, but those guys' return on investment's not like the guys in Japan. And these guys in Japan can play. I'd be over there scouting, get me some Japanese players. My God.
Yu Darvish is still pitching, and he's in his late 30s. And he's still pitching really well. You
had an advantage if you're the Yankees going into this series. And a lot of people have criticized the handling of Garrett Cole coming out early at 88 pitches. Like, why take him out?
Yeah.
To eventually get into Nasty Nestor.
Who hasn't pitched in like 30, who hadn't pitched in like 30-something days.
Why would you not allow Cole to keep going? Was he getting roughed up?
No.
Like, this whole panic somebody gets on, like, it's a sport. There's people are going to get a hit. People are going to walk. Like, someone's going to, but once again, you're always acting like the guy in the bullpen warming up is better than the guy on the mound. It's not the case. Yankees starting pitchers. This was their one strength. Their one, because remember, you say, Yankees hit home runs. Dodgers hit home runs. The Dodgers and the Astros are very similar in this way. Hit dingers and hit for average. Deadly combination.
Dodgers are getting 53.8% of the runs from the home run.
But they hit.
Yeah, they're hitting. Yeah,
they hit. Yeah. Dodgers ERA is 2.31 from their starters. Yankees is 4.82. It's only 2 games, but it's their direct. So the strength for you, their starters have thrown more innings. They got better numbers. Like, opponent's average versus Dodgers starter, 270 Yankees. Dodgers have hit 270 against Yankees starting pitchers. Yankees have only hit 146 off Dodgers starting pitching. I mean, this was supposed to be the Yankee strength over the Dodgers. It hasn't been. So it better. Clark Schmidt, you want to show me all this data about how he pitch? It's like, it's very strange that he pitches up in the zone with a sinker.
Yes. When you told me that earlier, I was like, I never.
The data is his velocity has gotten better from year to year. Obviously, a guy dealt with injury. His cutter, sinker. I'm trying to, if you're watching, the old cutter sinker is up in the zone, but he and Dodgers have struggled with velocity up in the zone. So if you're trying to find one positive for the Yankees, but the Yankees, you got Heel going tomorrow, you got Schmidt going today. At some point, this is your strength over the Dodgers. Your starting pitcher's got to be a strength. But if it's like, oh my God, panic time, get him out. Rodon didn't throw great.
No,
but I mean, their starters got to show up if they're going to have a chance. So I gave you my top 5 things have been Dodgers lineup is super deep. Dodgers hitting with 2 strikes, major advantage. Number 3 has been Yankees have not capitalized on their strengths. They've got to. Number 4, we've gone over it again. It's been Aaron Judge, his whiff rate, chase rate, all way up. He's got to get going. I would have moved him to the 2 spot and had Soto hit behind him. That's not the case. They're going to stay. But you get another bad game from Soto. Maybe the Boo-Birds are out of Yankee State. I mean, another bad game from Judge. Judge has to get going. He's the engine. When he goes, they go.
He got booed 2 years ago in the postseason.
So got to get him going. And number 5, and shame on me, shame on all of us. I want to get his numbers here. Is that we gotta show a little more respect for a guy that has proven to be pretty badass. Number 5, my biggest takeaway is how great of a player Freddie Freeman is.
Number 5, Freddie Freeman.
Freddie Freeman in 8 career World Series games is hitting .323, 4 home runs, 10 RBIs, and a 1,159 OPS. Like, not many times when you say best player in baseball, not many times Freddie Freeman gets brought up. And even the Atlanta Braves, they made a mistake by letting him go. You know, it's modern day baseball. As we try and tell you, teams aren't spending maybe what you think they are when you look at their revenues, but the Braves kind of pulled an Astros on them. They had a number. There was not a whole lot of great communication. Anthopoulos, the GM, and whoever his agent is. And Freddie Freeman felt disrespected. Braves tried to play hardball with him. He says, I'm going back home to L.A. And, you know, if you asked anybody right now and you look at the numbers, I mean, let's be honest. Matt Olson does not hit in the postseason. And Matt Olson, love him to death, super guy. He was a terrific A, but he's a feast or famine guy. He's going to ride hot streaks, going to have extra base hits. He's phenomenal defensively. He's not the play. He's not the offensive player. Because he hits home runs, it vaults his numbers up. But he is not the hitter that Freddie Freeman is. And I guarantee you, if you polled Braves fans, would you still rather have Freddie Freeman or Matt Olson, even though with the age difference? I guarantee you they would all say, yeah, we wish we still had Freddie.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, Freeman's been incredible what he was able to do. You know, the walk-off grand slam in game 1, the bum ankle, all that. I liked the comparisons to Kirk Gibson. I like the way that Joe Davis did the call with the Vince Scully. I thought that was really well done. Yeah. I mean, I think he's a very underrated player in a team that's, you know, he's going to be, hate to be like Tim Kirkchin, a future Hall of Famer.
Well,
but he is.
His numbers will show you that he's going to be. By the way, most consecutive World Series games with a home run. Who am I?
I think I saw this, but I'll play. Freeman's like second, right? Behind only Yordan Alvarez?
No. Close, though. Let's bring Martín Gallegos in. Martín Gallegos, who does an unbelievable job covering the Athletics for MLB.com and Major League Baseball. I am a player that has homered in 5 straight World Series games. Who am I?
Oh, man, that's a tough one. 5 straight World Series games. Man.
Recent. He used to hang out with Yordan Alvarez.
Altuve?
Close.
I got it.
You're in the ballpark. He may not wear their uniform anymore.
Bregman. Alex
A little
Bregman.
bit late. He likes to hang out north of the border.
He went to UConn.
Oh, Springer. George Springer.
George Springer.
Wow.
I mean, I saw. So
right.
George Springer homered in 5 consecutive World Series games. The guys behind him, look at these names. Freddie Freeman is at 4, tied with Mr. October Reggie Jackson and Lou Gehrig. Pretty good company right there for Freddie Freeman. Before we start getting into the World Series and your coverage, let's get into the A's. You've come out with a list. 7 questions the A's need to answer this offseason. And I guarantee you that this article that you did is far different than the one you've done in the past couple of years. The answers, it's different, right? Questions are different. There's a little more excitement going into 2025.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, especially, I think we talked about this kind of with Kotze. I think I just asked him about it towards the end of the season. It's just a different feeling going into this offseason. There's a lot more questions that are answered as far as the team, you know, whether it's roster construction with the lineup, most of those positions, you look up and down, they're pretty set with the exception of maybe like third base and obviously pitching. That's always kind of a, you know, an area where they're going to look to address every year. And I think this year is no different, but it's not like last year or the last maybe, you know, I guess 3 years where you could kind of point to any position on the field. And really it was kind of an open competition coming into spring training. They've got, you know, guys at first, second, shortstop, the outfield is pretty set. Catcher, they kind of know what they have going forward, and they kind of have the makings of a young core that they think is going to, you know, help them turn things around a little bit next year and maybe get closer to contention.
Yeah, and the whole third base thing, it's like I'm worried about it, but I'm not. Like, as the Dodgers show you, it really is about versatility, and you're not always going to have like the perfect player in the perfect position. Like, ideally, I want the same guy playing third, short, set, but I mean, Tommy Edmonds playing shortstop game 1 and playing center field game 2, for God's sakes. I mean, it's like, teams. So whether it is Max Muncy 2.0, or it's Daryl Hernandez, or maybe Brett Harris, or whoever, Schumann has to play there. You don't have to have the perfect third baseman to win, or at any position. It's like it's just a sometimes you're going to have to do it with multiple guys. It's just you could still be a good team while doing that.
Yeah, no, it doesn't necessarily have to be like, bring in some guy, a free agent or trade for a guy. It could be an internal option. And that's kind of the part that's different now, is we saw so many guys come up now and gotten their feet wet up here and enjoyed some success. I mean, Max Schumann had a great run there at shortstop. I know towards the end, he kind of started slumping a little bit, but I think he proved what he's able to do at this major league level. And Daryl Hernandez, had some flashes before he got hurt. So the options that they have there, it's a lot more, the names that they have and the players that they have at those positions, that you feel a lot better going to this year as opposed to the last few years where it was like, maybe we bring in some minor league, career minor leaguers from other organizations and try to piece things together. There's a core here now, and there's kind of a set group of players that they're going to ride with going into next season and beyond.
I got to be honest. I just thought about this because I know we're going to be selling, and David Force was just on with us on Friday, and you've talked about it. You've written about it. The A's are going to spend money this offseason. But with that said, when the A's go shopping, like I can say I'm going to spend some money, but it may not be for a while. So we just have to understand free agency, signing players, it's like going fishing. And there's different ponds to fish in. And the A's normally don't go to the big pond to fish. They wait and go to the smaller pond. So yes, we know they're going to spend money, but is it smart to tell everybody who's going to listen to this or watch this, say, may not be a splash before the winter meetings, it may not be a splash at the winter meetings, but it could be some splashes after the winter meeting. So we can talk that they're going to spend, but just have some patience. It may be a while.
Yeah, and I think that's always been kind of the strategy that this team has taken, even the last cycle of winning baseball, I guess you could call it, 2016, 17, 18, 19 years. It was never, them being in the sweepstakes. Like, they won't be in for, Juan Soto or anybody this offseason, but you kind of wait around and see what happens with the market. I mean, the free agency is always kind of weird. There's always some guys that end up going longer. I mean, last year was kind of weird with all the Boris guys, but there's always guys who end up lasting a little longer than you maybe expect. And who knows, maybe you could pick up a pitcher, I don't know necessarily on the cheap, but, a 1-year deal guy, someone who maybe you didn't expect to be there, going into spring training, maybe January type, they kind of linger on as a free agent. And that's, I think, when the A's have been at their best. I think that's when David Force and Billy Beane have been at their best, is they're able to strike gold on some of these guys who kind of linger around in the free agent market a little longer than everybody expected to. And they come in, to the A's organization for a year or so and, have a good year and help this team, in a playoff year. So I think that's kind of how they're going to approach it. I don't think they'll make any, long-term, commitments to guys, is bring in any guys on multi-year deals, maybe 2 years, but, nothing crazy. But I think they're going to, wait around and be smart about it and spend some money on areas that they feel like they can improve their ball club in.
Boy, this is going to be in, you mentioned the core four of Boris last year, and we all lived through that. We were out the winter meetings. We're all going to be at the winter meetings again in Dallas. This offseason is going to tell us a lot if what we saw last year is an anomaly, or is this the future going forward? Because Matt Chapman had a chance. Okay, I'm going to sign to prove it. Maybe he felt he proved it. He didn't want to go back on the market. He took the Giants offer. It's a good offer. He took the Giants offer. Snell wants to try again. But baseball teams and television contracts going away. The Commander had it for us earlier. Texas Rangers, they're the last. They're still, until someone wins this, the defending champions. They're already cutting payroll. They have no TV deal. They're going to cut payroll. So we'll be covering it. We'll both be in Dallas. We'll have you on the show in Dallas. It's going to be interesting to see what we see. Will the money start flying again for free agents, or are we still going to see kind of like a freeze here? And this may be the way the game's starting to go.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, especially the Snell thing. I mean, I think everyone kind of feels like if he had a full spring training, what could have been the season. He still had a great year, but it took him so long to get things going. And does he want to potentially go through that again? I don't know. And you mentioned that the Rangers are cutting payroll. I think I saw something about the Astros probably, having to cut back as well. So it's strange times right now. I don't think anybody really knows truly how it's all going to play out and how it's going to affect this offseason in terms of free agents. I think we've all grown so accustomed to, whoever's, ex big name on the market, Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani, and, we see these long 10-year deals and stuff. And I think for the top tier guys, I think Juan Soto is still going to get, a big bag of money, but a lot of these other guys
like last year, you're going to get Yamamoto was going to get big money.
Yeah.
Shohei Ohtani was going to get the very, 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 and that is like the 1% of our game. It's like the regular free agents, though, kind of up in the air.
Yeah, no, you're right. Because a lot of, like starting pitchers, I think we all got used to, guys who are maybe mid-level, closer to the high level, but still mid-level free agents. They would get these big deals. And now all of a sudden those have kind of evaporated. We're seeing, 1 year option deals. And it's a lot different. The landscape seems like it's slowly changing. And, we'll see if that was, like you said, if last year was just kind of a 1 year anomaly. I tend to think it might be kind of the way baseball is just going nowadays especially with pitching. You're seeing it in the postseason now. Starting pitching is not necessarily what it used to be anymore in terms of the value in the postseason now. So it's going to be interesting to see how all these, names who you would think in the past, maybe are going to get these nice, multi-year deals, how they kind of fare testing the market this offseason.
All right. You've been watching the postseason, been watching the World Series. What are your big takeaways so far with the Dodgers up 2-0, Game 3 tonight in New York?
Well, it's been fun. I think definitely the start to this World Series has kind of lived up to the hype. I think everyone was kind of expecting, stars versus stars. Everyone talks about the future Hall of Famers on the field and playing against each other. And Game 1 couldn't have been any more storybook. The way it ended with Freddie Freeman's walk-off, the Kirk Gibson parallels. And I like to think Fernando Valenzuela was looking down on Freddie that night and just kind of the beautiful tributes to him. Then Game 2, it looks like it's kind of a ho-hum Dodgers win. And then all of a sudden the late theatrics with Shohei going down, nobody knows really the severity of it. And then the Yankees all of a sudden score a run in the ninth, it's 4-2, and then load the bases to end it. So I think that creates a little bit of drama going into this Game 3, going back to New York, where I'm sure it's going to be electric. I was there for the ALCS against the Cleveland Guardians, and those fans, they get into it, especially in the playoffs. It seems like they take it up a notch, and I'm sure the World Series is going to be even more electric, knowing that they have their backs kind of against the wall here, 2-0. I'm sure those Yankee Stadium fans are going to be pretty crazy out there. So Game 3 is big. If you go down 3-0, you're basically done. You could look at all the numbers. I think 39-1 teams would go 3-0 in this playoff series. So it's must win for the Yankees, and it'll be interesting to see how they come out with what kind of urgency they have. I know they don't want to go down 3-0, but I think so far it's been a fun series. I think it's been, close games, which you all want to see. And those games in LA, the Yankees had a chance to win both games and just kind of came up short. The Dodgers had the big swings when they needed them.
I think one of the great tweets, you sent it to me, Commander, on Saturday, our buddy Anthony Castrovents said, my article coming up about the ratings in baseball and how many Ohtani jerseys are being bought around the world, how it's a bad thing for baseball. And of course, there's no link because the joke is this is all great for baseball. We need the Yankees to step up. We need, because a sweep or I predicted the Dodgers in 5, but as I've said, for the good of the game, I want to be wrong. I want this thing to go 7 games. Did you see the numbers of over almost 16 million people were watching Game 2 in Japan? This is great for our game. We need people to care about baseball. We need this thing to go 7.
Yeah, no, for sure. That'd be like best case scenario. I thought it was going to go 7. We'll see if it still does. But the Yankees, like you said, they got to pick it up here. It can't go down 3-0. But the amount of Judge versus Ohtani alone, but then all the other stars that are in this thing, Giancarlo, what he's done with the home runs, Juan Soto just making his case for one of the largest contracts ever with how he's gone off. Freddie with what he's been able to do on that, hurt ankle or whatever he has, and Mookie being Mookie. I mean, it's just fun to see, two teams. I know sometimes, people kind of, get upset about, Yankees, Dodgers, as teams buying their ways to a championship or whatever. But when we get this, I mean, it's very rare that we actually get this kind of scenario with all these stars on one field. So I think it's definitely great for the game. I mean, you see the ratings. I mean, everybody's watching. I know people in my life who, don't care about baseball. They're watching every single game and they're excited to see it. I mean, I was at a birthday party over the weekend and everybody was watching it as well. People who don't care about baseball. So they're into it. Everybody's into it. I think the world kind of stops to watch when, stars at this level like Ohtani and Judge are playing against each other. And, you hope to get, better than a sweep. I mean, a sweep would be kind of tough. So I think the Yankees are going to come out. I mean, they seem to play a little different at Yankee Stadium. I mean, it's kind of the quirky park with the short porch. I know it goes both ways, and the Dodgers could take advantage of it as well. But it seems like the Yankees are a little bit of a different team there. And I'd like to see Judge get it going. I mean, he hasn't really done a whole lot in this postseason. He hasn't really had that signature moment that he's had. And I think the Yankees are kind of waiting on that to get them going. It's a different vibe when he's the one, hitting those big homers, even though Giancarlo's, creating his own legend this October, and Soto's been great. But I think everyone's waiting for that Aaron Judge game, and hopefully we could get one of those here in this World Series at some point.
Yeah, glad you mentioned the people. You're at a party and people are talking about it, because yes, we got to get people away from football for a second to remember how great baseball can be. So that's a good thing. And it also reminds me of how I started this show today about the last couple weekends. I've been around a lot of people. Now, I haven't wanted to talk about the A's, right? Like, you don't know when someone comes up and goes, hey, and they want to talk about it. You don't know where the conversation's going, right? But it's been amazing to me the last 2 weekends being around a lot of people and people coming up to me, whether it's Giants fans or just sports fans, all recognizing that there's something going on with the Athletics and the young talent. Like, people towards the end really started to say, like, hey, this seems going to be really interesting. Have you gotten that sense too, when people know what you do for a living and they want to talk to you, and they may not be A's fans, but they're starting to recognize, like, wow, this seems to be real interesting to watch next year?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I think going, just being over and covering the ALCS and just talking to people there, they saw what the A's were doing in the second half. They saw the way they went in. I think, especially being in New York, a lot of people were there when the A's went into New York at Citi Field, and I think they took 2 or 3 from the Mets, and that was kind of when the Mets kind of hit that turning point to where they took off after that. They were panicking after they lost 2 or 3 of the A's, but I think everyone's kind of seen the talent that they have, and it's been cool to see this postseason. Brent Rooker's media personality kind of growing. I think he's going to be a correspondent today for MLB, and he had that watch party with Lawrence Butler and Mason Miller on there. So I think people are seeing that there's a lot of young talent, fun talent to watch on this team. And kind of now that we have kind of a resolution to where they're going to play the next few years, I think now maybe you can focus a little bit more on just the on-field product, which I think there's a lot of optimism around here that next year is going to be, a lot different in terms of, you look at the A's and you look at, what they're able to do on the field. They're going to be a lot more competitive. And I think, like we talked about at the beginning, they've got a young core here that's been built. Mark Kotsay has done a heck of a job. I think if it wasn't for, I know there's only 3 managers for Manager of the Year, but if there's anyone who should be in that discussion, Mark Kotsay, what he's done here these last few years and what he's built here, the culture that he's gotten that clubhouse, he's gotten these guys to where they're at now from where they were 3 years ago. There's a lot of optimism that this team is going to be, in the right direction next year and make a big step forward, and a lot of positivity just with this group. It's a fun group. I mean, we saw it last year towards the end, that last series in Seattle, just talking to all the guys in the last few days, and they were all really excited going into this offseason, just thinking about, and next year with the confidence that we built in the second half, we can kind of hit the ground running. We know what we have. All these young guys that we have are now up here producing. Lawrence Butler and Brent Rooker, those are, 2, they had 2 of the best stretches I've ever seen covering this team in the second half and at the plate. So, a lot of optimism just created from how they were able to finish the season going into next year.
God, can you just imagine, Brent Rooker has the surgery. He's going to be good. He's going to play. He's not going to be a full-time DH. People kind of forget that when there was like some talk. I've heard some talk. Got to get an outfielder. I'm like, remember, Rooker's going to play some outfield. Now, DH will be more floating. Teams want a floating DH. They want to be able to move it in a lot of different ways. To have a guy like Langolier stay in the lineup, but be off of his feet and just DH. That's how people want to use it. But man, can you imagine Rooker has something similar to last year?
Yeah,
Like
I mean,
wow.
It's crazy. I mean, I think, the injury, just the fact that he played through that all year. I mean, I know it affected him more throwing and on the field, but I mean, there's no way that it didn't affect him at all at the plate. And the fact that he was able to do what he did 2 years in a row now, he's had great years. Last year was even better than the year before. I know he wasn't an all-star, but I mean, he's probably going to get some, down ballot MVP votes. He was great this year as a hitter. He was one of the best hitters in baseball, without question, an elite hitter. And, going into his age 30 year, he should still be, right there in his prime ages. So I don't see why he wouldn't, keep hitting. I mean, he's already, he comes into spring training every year prepared. He works hard. So I think he's excited about what he's been able to do and kind of establishing himself. And now he's got a chance to really become a star. He's certainly got the personality that, baseball needs. A guy who loves, doing media stuff, talking to us. And it's just fun to watch him, what he's been able to come into from the time he arrived to spring training 2 years ago to now, where he's kind of thought of as one of the best hitters in the league and one of the faces of the league in terms of, personalities.
Well, and we don't know how the postseason awards are going to go, but just talk about how nice it was and how good it was to see Mason Miller be recognized for Rookie of the Year by the Sporting News.
Yeah, that was cool. I don't know how it was going to shake out, after, he had the injury and then, towards the end, had a couple of blown saves, but still, I think the whole year, I mean, he was dominant. I mean, every time he took the mound, you felt like the game was over. And I think you ask anybody else, they felt the same way as well. And just incredible what he was able to do. I mean, from last year being a starter, never having pitched really in relief, especially never in a closing role. And the way he kind of took to it so quickly and emerged as kind of a lights out closer. It's just incredible to see kind of the turnaround that he had. And the fact that he was able to stay mostly healthy, aside from that one kind of freak accident that he had, that was encouraging to see as well. And now you're going into next season feeling like we have one of the best closers in baseball. And now it's just kind of, building around that and, you assemble your bullpen, but you know who you're going to get the bridge to at the end. And he's a guy who could go more than 3 outs as well. And, it's crazy just kind of the rise that he's had from really the time he got drafted to now. It's just a short span of time. He's now one of the best players. Obviously, he was an all-star and now considered one of the best, pitchers in baseball.
Now that we're going to be playing in a different city, we're going to now have to do a lot more restaurant reviews.
Hey, I'm down for it. Hey, I love, trying out new food. I love providing my feedback on that. So we could definitely do that.
Yeah, we're gonna have to come up with something here. I'm looking forward to that because whenever you can go somewhere new, and I've been in Sacramento quite a bit, but we got a lot of new places to try and review, my friend.
We do. We could get that going for sure. There's definitely, I know downtown has a lot of spots. We can figure that out. We can create a list and then go down it. Just all types of foods too, but definitely some good Mexican food out there. But I'm sure we could find all kinds of food.
Well, you've been on the quest. The best burrito. You've been on the quest. It's a mission.
Yeah.
It's a mission from God to find the best burrito ever.
Yeah. Never ending mission.
All right, buddy. Be well. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, Towny. Sounds good. Good seeing you.
Martín Gallegos does an unbelievable job covering the athletics and Major League Baseball for MLB.com. Right now, the article up on the website, 7 questions for the A's to answer this offseason. Which players are free agents? Strip, Gott, coming off Tommy John. Love Gott.
I know. We should.
He was great for the show.
Another guy I love, TJ McFarland.
Alex Wood, Scott Alexander.
Who quietly had a really good year for the A's. Scott Alexander was very good for the A's coming out of the bullpen.
Are any of them likely to receive qualifying offers? I would say no.
Yeah, I would say you're right in that one.
No. Which players have contract options and what is the impact on team payroll? No players have contract options for 2025. And I know how some people see it, and I'm telling you, you don't understand the business of the game. That is good. I'm telling you, you want flexibility, payroll flexibility. As payroll is going to start to go up, you want payroll flexibility. Spotrac is a great place to go to look at teams that are spending this money. As he mentioned, the Astros now.
Yeah.
And if you go there, and I did this recently with one of our callers who's a pain in the you-know-what, I was texting him all this information. Like, look how much the Astros, you like look at how much people, they spend this. Look how much they're going to get rid of. Look how much the Giants are going to get rid of. Look how much the Astros, the Mets. It's incredible how many people are shedding contracts. Like, it's almost starting to be like NBA. Like, get rid of the contracts. Just get rid of these contracts. You don't want older, expensive. It's what the NFL is so smart. What does the NFL say? I don't want older, expensive players. Get them out of here. And baseball has been, let's give older players more money and longer years. If we all admit the NFL is the best business model, the NFL never wants to get older and expensive. Ever, 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 unless you're trying to get Aaron Rodgers or Brett Favre or Tom Brady. Quarterbacks, okay, you can age with. Is there really anybody, oh, man, I really want an old wide receiver. I want an old, no. You don't want, you can, if you are, what's his name, left tackle for the Niners, who's fabulous.
Trent Williams.
He's fabulous, right? You got a great left tackle. Left tackles can age, but for the most part, Jason Kelce at center, he's future Hall of Famer. He was a great player at center. Certain guys, but for the most part, older and expensive, gotta go. Baseball's got it. You have to realize that. Is there anybody you want right now having a long-term? No. You got to earn that. Teams are looking to shed. Why? Because it's smart. We know human beings, do not get better as they get older. Things change as you get into your 30s. Your testosterone starts to change. Your vision starts to change. Your flexibility starts to change. You're experiencing it now as a guy in his 30s. It changes. So why would I want to give that? Look at this guy. You think I want to give him more money and more years versus a guy who's 26?
In my defense, I've actually gotten healthier when I turned 30.
But I still don't want to guarantee you money. You're old and damaged.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. I wouldn't say broken just yet, but damaged, yes.
The car's wobbling, the check engine light's on. Me, I'm already done. They've compacted me and turned me into rubble. I'm done.
You're already working for the team as a special assistant now.
Special assistant to the team president. That's the job I want.
I mean, it's
Come on, Cavill, give me that gig. I'll hang out. I mean, what do? They just hang out.
I think Raleigh has that role.
Does he have that?
I think so.
See, that's the problem. You got to be a Hall of Famer. You got to be this great player. You just can't be.
Yeah, like our good friend Luis Gonzalez is a special assistant to the president of the Diamondbacks.
He's a World Series champion for them.
Yeah,
what am I? I'm just some schmuck that talks before, during, and after games.
Yeah, I don't know if that warrants a title of special assistant to the team president. Maybe you could be special assistant.
Ricky Henderson's a special assistant.
Yeah. Maybe towards the end when you retire, you can become like a special assistant to the broadcasting vice president.
No, I want no. I want to be. You know what? I just want to be the guy that goes around and talks to everybody in the corporate suites. That'd be a great gig for me.
Well, you still got a couple more years, and you can start thinking.
Oh, now Road Trip Mike says he wants that job. Settle down.
But before we go, I found
1 year. Everybody's highlighting this guy, and now he thinks he's Jose Canseco, for God's sakes. All right.
Before there's
hold on. I'm not done. Okay. I'm not done talking about my guy Martín Gallegos. Who might be non-tendered candidate? When does the club have to make that decision? The crop of players eligible for arbitration this offseason includes Brent Rooker, Seth Brown, Miguel and Duhar, Austin Adams, and Danny Jimenez. None of the anticipated raises in pay for the A's 5 arbitration eligible players are expected to be large enough to consider them true non-tendered candidates. Though Brown's projected $4 million for 2025. Ooh. The deadline this year is November 22nd. The non-tender deadline, November 22nd.
Okay.
Rooker should get a nice raise. Who needs to be added to the A's 40-man roster to avoid the old Rule 5 draft? Gunnar Hoagland, Cooper Bowman. Remember, Cooper Bowman's the guy who got in the Yankee deal, played well. Buelvis, your guy, Logan Davidson. Those are the names there. What kind of help do the A's need? Okay, we've gone over all of that. Who might they be willing to trade? I'm not talking about trades, but you know the one guy that, because Colby Thomas is coming on, what are you going to do with Ruiz?
Yeah, remember he had the surgery.
What are you going to do with Ruiz? He's an interesting guy. What are you going to do with Ruiz?
I think you have to try to move him because he doesn't really have a spot. Because you have Thomas, you have Denzel Clark coming, you have Henry Bolte coming.
Well, let's take it on a year-by-year basis, right? They may not be here next year. But if I have J.J. Bleday's playing center, Lawrence Butler's playing right, and Duhar, as of right now, is playing left, Brent Rooker's going to be in the mix for playing some right and some left and some DH. Colby Thomas is coming.
Mm-hmm.
This guy was hell on wheels. He's one of the best players in minor league baseball last year, right?
Yes, and then theoretically, if you hold on to Seth Brown, you still have him too.
So what do you do with Ruiz? He's got a skill set. People are going to want. I don't know what he's worth. I'd really have to investigate and talk to some people that I know in the business, especially some guys in not our front office guys, talk to other front office people that I can make contact with to say, what do you think this is worth? I can do that. I haven't done it. We're in World Series mode. I'll do that after. Like, what do you think he's worth? And maybe even a couple agents. What do you think he's worth? The agents will always give you a different, you got to get both perspectives, right? First thing Road Trip Mike would do is retire Bert Campaneris' number.
That's what he texted me that too.
What's the first thing you would do?
If I was a special assistant?
Well, I'd get me the special assistant's job. That'd be the first thing I'd do.
I'd have to think about that. What's the first thing I would do?
Oh, a little stumper question, huh?
You got to think about it. I don't have an answer for you right now.
What's the first thing you would do? If someone gave you pull, someone gave you power, what is the first thing you would do?
Promote Logan Davidson. Just so I could be right.
Buy me one of those unbelievable condos on the Las Vegas Strip that costs like $15 million that overlooks everything. How about that?
I don't know if you're getting that kind of pay with this special.
Well, you said I could do anything I want. I want one of those condos that are like $15 million that overlook everything. That's what I want.
Well, that'd be a pretty cushy job if you're making that kind of money to afford that.
That ain't happening. All right, everybody, enjoy Game 3.
Can I read this tweet to you?
Wait, we got to be Yankee fans here, right? We need.
Sure, I'll play Yankee fan on here.
We need Judge to get some fastballs and hit a couple out tonight.
Yes.
We got to get Judge's. Stella's got to get her groove back. Otherwise, Judge does. I mean, if the Dodgers sweep this thing or they do it in 5, that you're not getting the bang for the buck. If we have to live this, we might as well get as much out of it. It makes me want to throw up that it's the Yankees-Dodgers. But I get it. It's great for business. What's good for business is good for A's cast. It's good for the A's, right? So if there's 15 million people watching in Japan, this is good for our business. And I can tell you there's a lot of Japanese A's fans because of Hideki Matsui and also because of Moneyball and Brad Pitt. I've lived it. Been over to Tokyo twice with the A's, and there's all kinds of Japanese people who follow the A's. So, and Shotaro Fujinami. So this is good for us business-wise. So we need to get full bang for our buck here. If we're going to live it, we need the Yankees. The Yankees got to play their part because right now, if this is a prize fight, one guy's winning the fight by a lot. Yankees got to get back into the ring here and start throwing some blows and get back into this fight. Right? It's, we can't, if you pay for a pay-per-view, you want to see a good fight. You want to see a long fight versus the Mike Tyson you paid back in the day, long time ago. You pay like $45 and it was over first round. You didn't get your bang for the buck.
Yeah, now they're like $60 to order pay-per-views.
All right, what do you got?
Real quick, I figured if you might like this tweet, everyone else has sent it too. Enjoyed it. I wanted to get your reaction live.
All right.
After a pitcher's duel between Pittsburgh star Garrett Cole and St. Louis star Jack Flaherty, Miami star Giancarlo Stanton hit a 2-run homer to drive in Washington star Juan Soto. Then Boston star Mookie Betts drove in Angels star Shohei Ohtani to tie it, and Atlanta star Freddie Freeman walked it off.
People still have a hard time dealing with modern day professional sports. Modern day professional sports, people don't play for the same team their entire career, and people hate it. That was something that you saw a lot yesteryear. Your generation really hasn't seen it. You really have not seen it. Like the days of Larry Bird's not playing for anybody else and Magic Johnson not playing. Do I need to bust out my Michael Jordan Washington Wizards jersey?
There's been a few guys in my lifetime, but it's not as many.
Should I go get my Joe Montana Chiefs jersey?
I personally have a Johnny Unitas Chargers one.
Oh, I thought you were going to bust out your Joe Namath Rams jersey. Like, name me a real star. I mean, probably the real star in your lifetime is Derek Jeter.
I was just going to say Jeter.
I mean, other than Jeter, who?
He's not at the end yet, but if he does it the whole time, Steph Curry.
Oh, yeah, you don't know.
Could
That would be a good one.
Could go to Charlotte.
That could be a good one. But yeah, I mean, other than Jeter, who is a mega super. Tom Brady played for the Buccaneers, man.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Who is a sports star who played in the same city his entire career, modern day?
I mean, Wayne Gretzky played for 4 different teams. Hockey's a different sport, but you can say Mario Lemieux.
He's not modern day.
Well,
I mean, Mario Lemieux hasn't played in forever.
Yeah,
I'm talking right now, like modern. We're modern. We're now. Not guys who are playing in the
Crosby would be one if you're looking at hockey.
late 80s, early 90s.
Um,
It's 30 years ago. More than 30 years ago.
Yeah, football is hard. Baseball is definitely hard. Hockey's a niche sport, but that's why I said Crosby and Ovechkin. Yeah, and then basketball.
Once again, I said American sports stars.
That's true.
No offense, NHL.
Sorry, Crosby's Canadian.
I mean, you want to talk about? I mean, it's look. Football guys are changing. I mean, Patrick Mahomes may play the time. Time the Chiefs.
Yeah,
Kelsey may play the whole time with the Chiefs. I mean, it's possible, but it's just not a lot. People change. There's one. It's like us with A's Cast. We're moving forward. Because there's one guarantee in life, and that there's going to be change. We got to move forward. 2025's coming. We're ready to rock. I mean, you got to adjust with the times. Things are changing. Look at the Rays. I mean, you want to talk about someone who's taking the A's off the map? That's the Rays. Let me tell you something, a little inside. There's not going to be a lot of people talking about, we were going to be a chic talk. People were talking about, you know why everybody's going to be talking about the Rays in their situation? Because the Yankees are in their division. The Red Sox are in their division. The Orioles are in their division. All these good teams are in their division, and all these good teams got to go play wherever they're going to be. Out West, they only got to come one time and deal with it one time. Where the Rays play, Blue Jays, Yankees, Red Sox, you're talking about the biggest media markets. Well, New York, Boston,
even Toronto.
And I mean, Orioles are one of the hot dates at the dance. They all got to go play there multiple times, and they want to know, where are we going to play? Where are they going to play? Are you going to play at a spring training facility? Like where are they going to go? Are they going to play multiple spots? I mean, that is a dilemma. That's taken us right off the map.
Yeah, I think baseball put a deadline on when they want to resolution by. I think
who knows? Because you're not going to fix that roof because you've got a new ballpark coming up.
Yeah, I want to say that they wanted it by maybe it's not on here anymore, but I want to say I thought it was like November or something they wanted the answer by. I don't feel like
it's a reality. There's change. Life has changed. But like I said, Martín Gallegos, forget my little things the past couple weekends, but I thought it was relevant that a lot of Giants fans have come to me and talked about how, hey, man, you guys are going to be super exciting because they're not excited about their product. And these are guys that literally are baseball people, right? The people I hang around with are all ex-players. These are guys I hang out with, right? And they're all like, hey, they're not your foam finger fans.
That's a good way to put it.
Right? They're not the foam finger fans. These guys are ex-baseball players. Some played pros, some played college. They're all ex-players, and they're just like, game recognized game, right? They're like, hey, man, you guys got some exciting players. But they're not all thrilled about what the Giants are doing. That's the Giants' problem.
Yeah. Exactly.
But when Martín Gallegos goes to the NLCS in New York or the ALCS in New York to cover Yankees Guardians, and everybody knows he's the A's guy, and he's got a lot of people saying, hey, you guys are going to be interesting. That says a lot. We got to embrace it. We got to love it. Got to enjoy it. If we've got to slep through the bad times, right? If we've got to live that and wear that, well, let's live some good times. Let's live some fun. And fun's coming. Can't wait.
That's a good way to put it.
All right. Yankees win tonight?
I want to say no, but for the sake
you
of
want
it,
to say no? Why?
I'd love to see them get swept. But for everything you were saying,
then we don't do shows every day. I mean, the faster this World Series over, the less shows we got.
For the sake of the bit, I hope it goes 7.
You are such a selfish, all about you person. Just admit it on the air. You care more about being right.
I didn't say 7. I said 6.
You wanted it 4. So
I did. Yeah, you told me
4.
You wouldn't let me.
You
go.
care more about you than the sport.
I mean, I'm a me guy.
You are. You are such a me guy. There's one thing about, hey, you know what? There's one thing if you guys don't know, the commander likes the commander. You like being right.
I do, yes.
You are really big on being right. You, Greg, and Slow should hang out. The two of you guys can just be right about everything together.
He keeps telling me to come to the Pismo. I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be there in a couple next month.
The two of you guys can just sit there about how you're just where I'm right. No, I'm right. No, I'm right. No, I'm right.
What was the drop that we got of him? I'm so confused or something like that. I'm so angry and confused or whatever it is.
Certain humans like to be the smartest guy in the room.
Can Greg admit when he's wrong? I usually
no, because he'll circle back in a way to make it how he was right about something else. He'll never just be like, hey man, I'm wrong.
Well, I tend to be that way sometimes too.
I hope I'm wrong on the 5 games. We want this thing to go 7, man. We're getting 15 million people to watch in Japan. We're getting 15 or hopefully more. Game 7, hopefully we would get at least NFL college football numbers, regular season numbers. We get 20 million people watching Game 7 of Yankees Red Sox. That's huge for us. That really is.
Yeah. No, you're right.
When would Game 7 be? Please say it's not on a Sunday.
Saturday.
It'd be this Saturday?
Yeah.
Oh, thank God. Like yesterday, I was playing golf yesterday with a couple buddies, and they're like, man, I wish the game was on. Like, people are wishing the game was on tonight, right? And then I was like, yeah, but you really don't.
Want to go up against Cowboys?
Nah, you really don't. I mean, it's going to be bad enough going up against Monday Night Football. I mean, you really wish you could be kind of how the NBA does. I hate how the NBA does it, but it's smart. Like the NBA places their games by television ratings. That's why series have no flow to them, right? It's like, oh, you got a big game. Warriors are taking a hit. Well, we'll see you in 3 nights.
Yeah.
But they're doing it to get the bang for the buck in the television ratings. Yeah, so at least Saturday night, we'll be going up against what? A bad Big Ten game? Some of these Big Ten games, right? Wouldn't it be Big Ten Saturday night?
I'm not sure what the SEC game is this week. I have to look at the college football schedule.
I'm fine with Game 7. Just stay away from Sundays. You got to stay away from.
Yeah.
You can't win Sundays.
Well, they did it. There was one yesterday. There's not one this Sunday.
Come on, Aaron Judge. Get your head out. Let's go, big boy. Plus, I want to see. I like Aaron Judge. He's a good dude.
I could like him again now that San Jose State lost to Fresno.
Yeah. Idaho Potato Bowl. Here we come.
That's what it's projected.
Idaho
back to Boise. We
were there 2 years ago. It was freezing cold. All right, everybody. Enjoy Game 3 of the World Series, and we will see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock. JJ Bleday is going to stop by the show. Who else we got?
Franny, Kevin Franzen.
Kevin Franzen will be on, he's been covering the series, former San Jose State great, obviously big leaguer, and now does games for the Washington Nationals on television. He's been covering it for SiriusXM. Franny and JJ tomorrow. We'll see everybody at 1 o'clock. Enjoy Game 3 of the World Series.
There's a lot more than golf going on at Cinnabar Hills Golf Club. Sure, there's 27 picturesque and challenging holes of golf, but there's so much more. Saturday, November 16th, it's their second murder mystery dinner, the most wonderful crime of the year. Come dressed in your best ugly Christmas sweater and enjoy an evening of fun, mystery, and delicious food. Reservations required. If you're in charge of the office holiday party, Cinnabar Hills is the perfect venue. And for new clients, book your party before November 30th and get $1,000 off the venue fee. Minimum 50 guests. Getting married in 2025? Cinnabar Hills has dates available and they would love to host your special day. Book before December 31st and receive a complimentary chair upgrade for up to 150 people and complimentary cake cutting fee. There's a lot going on. The murder mystery dinner November 16th, your office holiday party, or the site of your perfect wedding. And the golf's pretty darn good too. For more information, visit CinnabarHills.com. Cinnabar Hills Golf Club, Silicon Valley's premier golf and event destination.
This has been a presentation of the Athletics.